No, there's the filthy capitalist option, as Sori says. 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst. We're in a time travel.
Beginning of 1973 Part 2.
Yes.
The big homie DJ Revo. Jim Croce, is that how you say it?
I think so, or
is
Jim Croce.
Up first, bad Leroy
Jim
Brown.
Croce. Maybe it's Jim Croce.
He said.
We got
DJ...
Revo here. We got Dwayne here.
What's up? What's up? Hopefully you're on the mend, Revo. 1973, Revo says, this is the year President Nixon begins his second term. In January, the U.S. North and South Vietnam and the Viet Cong signed the Paris Peace Accords, which outlines an end to the Vietnam War and a path for Vietnam to be reunited. This year also sees to Nixon being investigated for Watergate and his Vice President Spiro Agnew resigning due to bribery. This is also the year of Roe v. Wade.
I am not a crook.
Inflation is soaring and most of Europe enters a recession. The Yom Kippur War happens this year between Israel and some of its neighbors. This leads to skyrocketing oil prices, and the UK enters a 3-day week to cut back on oil use. Didn't we read this?
Yeah, but it's still 1973.
Yeah. For 71 days, the American Indian movement occupied Wounded Knee over anger of broken treaties of the past. Roe v. Wade, the Battle of the Sexes tennis match happens between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs. Billie Jean won.
Billie Jean.
All right, and as for this song, this is the singer-songwriter Jim Croce. This song was released on March 20th, 1973 by
Hey,
ABC
Revo,
Records.
pronounce this phonetically. Is it Jim Croce or Jim Croce? Let us know. Or Crochet? Let us know. Shout out to Leslie Bates, way 2 in the house. All right, keep going.
Jim had gotten his start in 1966 and had mostly been a struggling folk rock musician. He broke out in 1972 and became one of the top stars of the time. Jim said, "This is a song about a guy I was in the army with. It was at Fort Dix in New Jersey that I met this guy. He was not made to climb the tree of knowledge, as they say, but he was strong, so nobody ever told him what to do. And after about a week down there, he said, 'Later for this,' and decided to go home. So he went AWOL, which means you take your own vacation, and he did. He made the mistake of coming back at the end of the month to get his paycheck."
Straight to the brig, my guy.
I don't know if you've ever seen handcuffs put on anyone, but it was Snap, and that was the end of it for a good friend of mine. Wow.
Yeah.
Who I wrote this tune about.
Straight to the brig.
Leroy Brown. This song was nominated for the Grammy Awards in the Pop Male Vocalist and Record of the Year. The song was a #1 hit in the U.S., and his only one before his death later this year by an airplane crash in Louisiana. He had one more #1 hit with his posthumous Release Tim in a bottle. Wow, okay.
Posthumous.
He went
That
back
means that means it was released after he died.
So, posthumous?
Yeah, that's what a posthumous release is.
Posthumous is what I said. Oh, God.
It's all. It's okay.
Anyway,
There we go. Bad Leroy Brown.
Wow,
Song
that's crazy. So
numero uno.
if they, is there any way to get out of that?
No, absent without leave. Big homie Dan. I actually do want to talk to you, Ya Rasulullah.
There's no way to get out of that situation.
Absent without leave.
You know, if you let's say you're in the army and you're
That's-
like, you know what,
that's
this
what
is
it
not
means
for
to go
me. Can they
AWOL.
leave? You can't. You sign papers, right?
I mean, it depends. Like, it depends. Like, you got some people in, like, for example, my brother was, going to Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. There were people that didn't make it all the way through basic. They sent them home. Like, but that's the Marine Corps. That's different. I don't know about big army. It definitely was not happening during Vietnam. During Vietnam, you couldn't just decide you were going to, especially if you volunteered. Like, no.
Okay, well.
Yeah, you had
So he went back- if you
had
wouldn't have gone back with his paycheck?
you had conscientious objectors like Muhammad Ali, stuff like that. But for regular like people, no, like you can't just go AWOL and then come back and collect your check. Like, that's crazy.
If he wouldn't have gone back to collect his check, would they have still caught up with him?
Unlikely, because there were so many deserters during Vietnam.
So how long would he be in jail for?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it was pretty significant. They try to discourage it significantly. Let's hear the song. Okay, bad Leroy Brown.
Pretty sure I've heard this one.
Oh, really?
I think it would have been one that was playing at the store I used to work at when I was 15.
All right, let's see it. Bad Leroy Brown.
Baddest
Let's
man
check
in
it
the whole
out.
damn town.
Yeah, the boys of color got drafted. A lot of black folks just got drafted. That's true. And a lot of young people got drafted during Vietnam. All right, here we go. Bad Leroy Brown. Let's go.
Well, the south side of Chicago is the
heard this?
baddest part of town. And if you go down there, you better just beware of a man named Leroy Brown. Now, Leroy, morning trouble. You see, he stand about 6'4". Although downtown ladies call him treetop lover, all the men just call him sir. And it's bad Leroy Brown. Baddest man in the whole damn town. Better than old King Kong. And meaner than a junkyard dog. Now Leroy, he a gambler. And he like his fancy clothes. And he like to wear his diamond rings in front of everybody's nose. He got a custom Continental. He got a Eldorado too. He got a 32 gun in his pocket for fun. He got a razor in his shoe. It's bad Leroy Brown. Baddest man in the whole damn town. Better than old King Kong. And meaner than a junkyard dog. Well, Friday, about a week ago, Leroy shooting dice. And at the edge of the bar sat a girl named Doris, and oh, that girl looked nice. Well, he cast his eyes upon her, and the trouble soon began. And Leroy Brown, he turned to mess about a messing with the wife of a jealous man. And it's bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town. Better than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. Well, the two men took to fighting, and when they pulled down from the floor, Leroy looked like a jigsaw puzzle with a couple of pieces gone. And it's bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town. Better than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog. And it's bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole damn town. Better than old King Kong, meaner than a junkyard dog.
shout out to the big homie Leroy Brown.
Yeah. I hope he got his teeth repaired. I'm assuming that was the parts that were lost like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. He had some of that. Maybe when he went to the brig, he showed up for the brig. He'd get his teeth fixed.
Wait, so Leroy Brown was literally about the guy that ended up having to go back. Okay, but he wrote the whole.
That the whole song was about him.
How he's a
the
bad
dude
man.
was 6'4". I think he's a black dude because he looks like he's pimping. He had the gold rings and the black dude's a little bit flamboyant like that, especially during the 70s.
Yeah.
Everybody was listening to Shaft.
Clothes.
Shaft! You a bad mother. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth. You know what?
The
Speaking
Shaft.
of rings, when we went to a Patriots game like last year or a year before, whatever, there was this guy that had like all of these big rings, like they looked like the rings that they get when they win.
Rings,
when they Vin was like, "Yo, I could ask him for that ring and take off." And so we were like laughing about that. And then the guy is like, he's like passing this ring around to everybody. And we were like, wait, turns out it was like a $25 ring off of like.
It's a replica.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a picture of the three of us with JC Jackson's parents.
Are you wearing the
where
ring?
I'm rocking the ring.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. We would have. Can you imagine? If you were the type of person.
What, if I tried to
take
run
the
off
guy's
with it?
ring and like run off with it, and it's.
I would never do that just because his son was playing in the NFL.
Oh,
So-
that guy's son?
Yeah. Like,
The
it was
old guy?
JC's dad.
No. It was the old
when
guy
we took
that had
the picture of the
rings.
ring,
Yeah.
that was JC's.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like, I wasn't going to steal that
No.
ring. And that dude's probably, like, running a 4-2 or some shit. We'd never escape. You guys would never see me again. Okay, so apparently you're familiar with this song. Was this like a song that you were allowed to listen to? How did
No,
this
I wasn't
get past the
allowed
filter?
to listen to it. It was played at the store when I got my first like official like they're gonna charge you taxes job. It was in the store called Porches. And they used to play all these older songs, and this was one of the songs. Anytime it was a song that had like a story behind it, it was literally the most boring job ever. It was
What did you do?
incredible. It was so few. You might make like between 3 to 7 sales in a night. 7 is like actually that was a busy night.
Oh my God.
It was just so
What were
boring.
you selling?
It was like a department store, like a mini Macy's basically, but it was in the Auburn Mall. It wasn't very, whatever. Well, anyway, I got my best friend to work there, so we
Okay.
could wreck shop. Yeah, and
Oh,
then
God.
we got some of our other friends started working there, but it was a very boring job. If your friends weren't working the shift you were working, like it sucked. So anyway, this song would play, and because it was a story, I would listen to it. I never caught all of it. Like I obviously caught the chorus. But I never caught the other stuff in there, especially like I have an aunt named Doris, so it was kind of funny to get to that
That's why
part.
we were both laughing when
when
that
it said
part
Doris,
came
I
on.
was like, what?
Because Leroy sounds like Doris's type of guy.
You're probably right. Yeah. Yep. There was a little smidge of time where there was a man like Leroy that was coming around,
I'm sure.
and it was after I had gotten with you, so she was like, yeah, she's like, he's a black man.
The
too.
black guys, yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
oh, okay, we know all about that. Anyway, so it doesn't
We're
even
here to
sound
help.
like he did anything to get
We're
himself
here to
beat
help.
up, though.
We're here to help. What do you mean? He was talking to that guy's
No, he
wife.
didn't even say it. It just says he cast his eyes upon her. And
Yeah.
the trouble soon began.
Yeah, I mean, the implication is Leroy was,
Well, I don't know. He could just be jealous.
He was shooting a shot.
The guy could just be a super jealous person, and so, if the guy looked over too much.
I'm sure Leroy has a certain kind of reputation. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got from that situation. Leroy was shooting a shot, and he met his match.
Is there any situation in which you'd react to someone just looking over?
Well, I mean, look, it says he was a gambler. He liked fancy clothes. He liked to wave his diamond rings under everybody's nose. So this is a real,
Yeah.
he's a flamboyant, obnoxious type of dude. You see what I'm saying?
Also,
So-
maybe a little slick. Who knows?
Right. So if he sees a girl, obviously he's gonna try to shoot a shot.
Right.
So
he said that she was nice.
yeah.
Is that what it said?
Yeah, and by the time a guy like Leroy says that to your girl, it's most of the time it's already too late, dear listener.
Too late to apologize.
It's too late to apologize. Yeah. So it's crazy because
it's that energy. It's that energy.
Yeah. So
Oh, no.
so this is interesting because I was figuring he was going to tell the story about what happened to him in Vietnam.
Yeah.
But this is his backstory before he got sent to the brig.
Well, no, this is what he was doing when he left for his vacation. He went over there, he put the fancy clothes, he went to the club, then he decided to go back and get his paycheck.
Okay, yeah, because he got jammed. The guy jammed him up, and he probably wanted to go to the dentist to get, get the tooth fixed.
I do have to say, I do think that it's like I understand the concept of you want to make it so that way your soldiers don't run, but at the same time, like, how about you create a reason for us to fight that's worth us not running for?
I mean, that always happens in war where people decide, like, this isn't for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand, but back in the day when the girls were on the side with all their makeup and they were like, if we lose, like, there was some motivation. They weren't just like, well, you know what, let me run off and have a vacation. Like, we're so disconnected from the results and the reason for why we have war. I mean, we live in America, for God's sake. You know what I mean? We don't experience it like that.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that.
And especially when you're talking about drafting people. Like, it wasn't even that they got bamboozled by your...
Right, it's not like... Right. Vietnam was a deeply, deeply unpopular war for young people.
Yeah, forcing people... It's just crazy.
Young people were just like, why? Why are we doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for what reason? Yeah. Okay.
I always thought to myself... that it was going to be deeply unpopular, but that I would be completely fine with a guy saying, I am not doing that. And, like, going the other direction and going to friggin' Canada. But then after a while, like, it's hard because the type of person that would... I don't know what I think now. It depends on why
what
they
left. What do you mean,
left,
like an objector? Like which war? Like the Iraq War? Afghanistan? What are you talking about?
Well, whenever it was being talked about, it was usually Vietnam when they're talking about, like, being drafted.
Anti-war,
and
yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have fought in Vietnam.
Right, would you have run?
No, you could be a conscientious objector.
A what?
Conscientious objector. If you can demonstrate that you have a personal conviction against violence, and you'd be able to skirt it. But the bar was pretty high, apparently. But that's what happened with Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali got drafted. He's like, nah, hell nah. He's like, no Viet Cong ever called me a nigger. Hell no. I don't got no quarrel with them people. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you don't hate the communists? He's like, nah, not particularly.
It's like that. Remember that other guy that was like, this is gonna be so unpopular.
Wacky tour in the house.
This is gonna be so unpopular due to the propaganda. But the Ukrainians.
Oh God, here we go.
Remember the brown guy? He was like, I'm not going on.
Ukraine, the African dude. The African dude was trying to get out of the country. He was like, they handed me AK-47. He's like, what am I supposed to do with this? He's like, fight for Ukraine.
Fight for Ukraine.
He started laughing. He said, fight for Ukraine.
Anyway, deeply unpopular, I'm sure.
All that racist shit that poor man was going through there. Now they're trying to tell this man he got to fight.
The audacity to put hatred toward a certain community, and then all of a sudden, like, it's time to fight, and they're like, hey, you. You're a strapping young man.
Okay, this is a classic song, right?
Oh, my word. Yeah, it's gotta be. I mean,
this is a classic song.
Well, didn't he say that it reached the charts? It had to have reached the charts. I noticed that this song was a #1 hit in the U.S. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, you can see why people kind of threw in with it, too.
I'm very surprised.
Wait,
because
why?
When you listen to the 1973 that we did like 2 days ago, the music, compare this to the Slade song, the Come On, Feel the... This seems like really hokey compared to that.
Whoa, that was the same year?
Yeah, 1973. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm surprised that this song... That's a lot of variation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
From Come On, Feel the Noise, which I mean, honestly, was 10 years before its time, really, if you think about it.
Babe, I have to see that.
To this song.
I need to see that.
I mean,
Where does
it's
that
in the
say?
1973 stream,
No, it
Yaroslawa.
wasn't. No, it wasn't. Oh my God, yeah, it was.
What are you talking about? It was in the 1973 stream.
You know, honestly, I think that's a really good point because when you said it, like, my mind did not want to accept that information that those two came out in the same year.
That's what I'm
crazy.
saying. It sounds like this Leroy. See, here's the thing. The Come On Feel the Noise song sounds like an 80s song.
Yeah.
And this Leroy Brown song sounds like a 50s song.
I agree. That's what I was thinking when I looked at it.
So
I'm
for
like,
both of them to hit the charts in the
That's
same
crazy.
year just shows you
Yeah.
like how variegated music was back in the day.
Yeah.
Like you didn't have to do one thing over and over again. So like I think that's badass. Like one song is like 10 years before its time, another song is like a reach to the past, and both of them were able to chart. This song made it to number 1. I don't think Come On Feel the Noise ever made number 1 in US charts. But like that's crazy to me.
well, see, I find it interesting that I didn't obviously know
That's
anything
exactly
about
right,
this music.
Myron. That's exactly right, Myron. The music was diversified. Yeah, and then once you got to the mid 80s and 90s, forget about it. They just started
it's all within the
doing
yeah.
the capitalist
Yeah.
thing and saying we'll just reproduce.
Right.
You know, go ahead.
I think it's interesting when there was a bunch of songs that get played over and over, but there was a few of them that when they would come on, like Jesse's Girl or Bad Leroy Brown, like those different songs, when those came on, I took an extra listen to it wouldn't be like, oh, if I could listen to anything, if I had YouTube at the time, I wouldn't have clicked on, well, Jesse's Girl, I might have put Jesse's Girl on, but like, listening to that stuff back then, I didn't know if they made the charts or if they were popular in the day or whatever. But like as the songs were getting played, there was some of those songs that I was like, ugh, that's a throwaway song. But then there was some of them that really stuck out to me. One of them being Bad Bad Leroy Brown, and then to find out that it was actually number 1 on the U.S. charts in its time. It's just cool to see that. Like obviously, I was from a different time period, almost like an entirely different world because we didn't have music. So. But even in that environment, I was still able to pick this song out of all the other ones that were getting played and say, this one's a good one. So, like, I'm saying it's a good song that it could get through, you know, to somebody in the... just
90s.
cross 2000, right? No, whatever that was.
Specifically the Bad Leroy Brown song?
Yeah, it would have been 2000. Yeah.
Yeah, that to me is just... That's only you specifically.
Oh, you don't think... No. If everybody had the same soundtrack that they were listening to at work, like, that's it. Like, these are the songs you're listening to.
Yeah.
Are there going to be certain ones that are going to poke out to you above the other ones?
This song would not.
This one... Well, you didn't hear the other songs.
8.5 for me.
Oh, really? 8.5. I think it's catchy.
I'm going to do a strict
9.3.
judging. There's a strict judging system here, dear listener.
Yeah,
We're not just handing out
He's real strict today.
participation trophies.
No. All right, so I'm giving this one
8.5.
9.3. I like this song.
8.5.
I like this one. All right, you guys. Up next, the Doobie Brothers, "Long Train Runnin'."
Really? They're called the Doobie
I
Brothers?
don't know, babe. That's what it looks like. to
Long
me.
Train Running, dear
Doobie?
listener.
Doobie Brothers.
Let's check it
Wait, a
out.
doobie.
Vin out.
Sorry, Al.
God. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that
can
off.
also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee,
Can't
a
guarantee
positive
you
review.
A positive review.
Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord,
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
and they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Vin and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Fire merch.
Fire merch indeed. A child shall lead them to buy our merch. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Somebody's gonna bring it in.
Huh?
Somebody's gonna bring it into you.
Yes, sir.
Doobie
Bobby.
Brothers. Long Train Running on our 1973 Part 2 stream. Thank you very much. Doobie Brothers Long Train Running. DJ Revo has a little message for us here. He says, I believe this is your first reaction to this band. The song started out as just a jam song, but the producer Ted Templeton challenged the band to add lyrics to the jam. This was released March 28th, 1973. Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy?
Yesterday.
So
All
it's
those years ago.
What, the 50-year anniversary? Yesterday would be the 50th anniversary, right?
I think you're right, yeah. And it was the lead single
I
off
could
their
do math!
The Captain and Me album released by Warner Brother Records. It reached number 8 on the U.S. charts.
Middle Earth in the house. Lawyer Paul in the house.
Let's go.
Myron in the house. Andre in the house.
I reappeared, Revo.
Hippie Joe in the house. Talk to him. Talk to him, Hippie Joe. Okay, here we go. Doobie Brothers. I just have the thing, Doobie Brothers.
Long Train Running.
Long Train Running. Do you get lyrics, inshallah?
Coming up.
Nah, the stream's not going to be blocked. The stream will not be blocked. Let's go. Oh, that's a clean sound. That's a clean sound. Okay. All right, Doobie Brothers. Woo.
Down around the corner, half a mile from here, you see them both run and watch them disappear. Without love, where would you be now? Without
I love vocals like that.
You?
Yeah.
Well, our song is loose, down along the tracks. She lost her home and her family, and she won't be coming back. Without love, where would you be right now?
You know who would be dancing like crazy? The dude from Now of the Stars. You know the violin? You know how he dances and shit?
The Illinois Central
Starts working.
and the Southern Central Freight. Keep on pushing by mud. Know they're running late. Without love, where would you be now? Nah, nah, nah. Without love.
Yo.
Interesting.
I really, really, really love that song, bro.
Isn't it crazy that
I
it reached...
really like that song, dude.
This one reached number 8 on the U.S. charts. Leroy Brown reached number 1.
That's what I'm saying.
This one seems like a better song.
This
in my
seems like a
opinion.
70s song to me.
But at the same time, do you think that it had anything to do with like the topic? Like this one, it's, you know, you've got the concept of the train that's always moving. I think it's an analogy of time. You can't stop the train just keeps moving. Like
Right.
So it sounds like an analogy for time, and then it talks about love and people having to move on because stuff isn't working out for them in their town. Where the other one, Bad Leroy Brown, was more about like, you know, he's a bad man, you know?
Yeah.
And then the ladies and then the fights and the you know, it just seems like maybe it was the topic of that one that made it hit up there, where the sound of this one is...
I mean, this sounds like pure 70s to me. The way they do those vocal harmonies, apparently.
Yeah, like layering them in.
Now that we're doing music, now I'm starting to see like, okay, like we were talking about in production, like in the 80s with the 80s stuff where you just isolate the bass drum and then you have a layered chorus. That's like a signature production move in the 80s. So I'm starting to kind of slowly figure it out because I'm not a music producer or whatever. But now that we're making our own music, it's like, oh, this guy's... It's so crazy how, like, if you make certain decisions post-production, it creates an entire sound. And then once people found that formula, you know, they just went crazy with it. But I really love this song. And it's crazy because I always say, like, it's impossible to give an unbiased review. I always say I start out with a bias, but I can be converted. So when I hear the band is called the Doobie Brothers, I'm like, oh my God. This is going to be some hokey, some corny shit. Okay. But then, like, that chorus hit, without love. Like, man, it's little sections like that. I was almost going to rewind it and play it again, but I decided against it. But, like, little sections like that, like, those are the kind of techniques, like, I would want to bring back. Because I feel like that would make our sound so, like, unique and earthy and also universal to, like, use something that's like 50 years old, but that sounds really good. Like when they did that
layered vocal thing would be pretty simple to do.
Oh yeah, it would be. It would be for sure. But like I would love to like take little snippets of that, little snippets of like the techniques they used in the 80s, put that in our joint. It would just, you know, it would add so much, like, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
Shout out to Big T in the house. Big T, gang shit.
I agree. So did you think that he was talking about, like, kind of the concept of time and love and...
Well, he says, you know, I saw Miss Lucy down along the track. She lost her home and her family. She won't be coming back. Without love, where would you be right now? Well, the Illinois Central and the Southern Central Freight got to keep on pushing, mama. You know they're running late. Well, pistons keep on churning, the wheels go round and round, and the steel rails are cold and hard. On the mountains, they go down without love. So it looks like, you know, you're dealing with all this industry. You're dealing with, like, the practicalities of life. And what he's saying is central to all that is, like, you can be in the worst situation, which is this mom, and she has no money or whatever. She's on the train tracks. You can be in the worst situation, or you can just be in a regular situation, like, you know, being part of freight and moving things, and like, or you're just going along with business. Either way, the point is, if you don't have love, where are you going to be? Right? And there's a lot of ways of looking at that. Like, for like the mom, for example, Miss Lucy.
I don't think it's a mom.
You know, I saw Miss Lucy down along the track. She lost her home and her family. She won't be coming back. So it says she lost her home and her family. So.
Yeah, that's so funny because I actually pictured a teenager.
Well, he called her Miss Lucy.
Yeah, Miss.
And I don't know, like, what would cause a woman to lose her family in the 70s, because, like, the hard drugs hadn't hit yet.
By the 70s?
Like 1970, like, people, like, you weren't doing crack, you weren't doing hair.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I think you were doing hair. I mean,
were doing a lot of stuff
you
in the
still
60s.
had rock stars ODing in the 70s, so maybe, like, it was a drug situation. But either way, he doesn't say exactly why she lost her family. But it says she won't be coming back, which basically is like she's got nothing to live for now because she lost her family. So when it says she won't be coming back, you basically fill in the blanks. So he's kind of like telling a story, but the song is almost like proverbial. The lady in the house, gang shit. The song's almost proverbial, like he's putting up all these situations and then he's saying, without love, where would you be? So like, we talked about this yesterday too, where we were talking about like adding meaning to work. And, you know, we're talking about like, if you believe in God, you're doing everything, you know, for God. And so now there's meaning in being a shoe cobbler and all the rest of it. Mm-hmm. And here, I think that there's another principle, and obviously I would put it beneath God, but honestly, it would be the same thing, which is basically, you know, when he talks about the freight or the pistons keep churning and wheels going round and round, and the steel rails and the cold are cold and hard. It's like this is all the industry that we're coming up with, but it becomes meaningless if you're not doing it for some sort of reason. And we talked about this, like, you know, this whole epidemic of young men who are getting married like much, much later. And so we talked about how, like,
this is the album cover, I think, too.
You talk about, wait, that's a white dude singing like that? That's the other thing. I thought it was a black dude singing all that soul this dude had.
Doesn't it look like he's using something over here? Oh, is this a harmonica? It
looks like a harmonica or something.
Probably a harmonica, yeah.
But like, it's very fascinating because love, a lot of times, like for example, when I was in the corporate world, there were a lot of driven individuals, like especially like once you started getting to the level that we were on, you know, people, you know, whatever. And from this is one of the reasons why when I hear people talk about, you know, capitalists and all that, like, and the rich 1% and all that, like, I resonate with a lot of it because, you know, I've been in pretty much every category, but when I was a kid, you know, we were homeless at points. So I resonate with a lot of that, but at the same time, it's like, I know those people, like, that got to that level. I've been in meetings with those people. Mm-hmm. And on the one hand, like, they're ruthless, but on the other hand, it's not about, at least for them, it was not about, oh, we're going to accumulate, I want my 9th house, or, like, they were talking about their kids' trust funds, they were talking about their kids' college, and I get it, like, trust fund, oh my God, trust fund, but at the same time, it's like, these guys were motivated by love to their family and their kids. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it got to the point where it was like, it was loving your the problem with a lot of the corporate guys is it's loving your family at the cost of it, at the detriment and expense of everybody else, where it crosses over into, but
that's not at all what I expected you to say. Please say that again. Well,
a lot of the high rolling type A personalities that are in the corporate world that make a lot of money, you know, and, you know, I was at the bottom of the rung. I mean, you know how much I was making on the last little go around, but I was at the bottom of the rung salary wise compared to those people, which means they were making a lot of money, obviously, right? And the idea is that they're these like empty suited corporate, you know, automatons who are just doing it to get their 9th house or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I'm explaining that a lot of it had to do with investing in their kids' future and trying to set their kids up to live at a certain...
Oh, you're saying that's the reason why they're the...
Right, they're motivated by love for their family. It gets bad because they're caring for their family at the expense of everybody else.
Yeah.
But my point is that they're motivated by love a lot of the times. Like, I know people don't want to look at those people that way because we want to look at them as just these soulless people who are just accumulating all this capital because we want to be able to resent them so that we can justify, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you never know. This day and age, eat the rich about how literal that might be taken. But the point of the song is that love adds meaning to everything, and if you don't have love, then you're pretty much like Miss Lucy on the train tracks. It's like, it's telling a real proverbial story, but it's not preachy. That's the thing. It's like, it's really centering this concept of love, but they did it in a non-preachy way because they're inviting you into a conversation. Don't be mad at me, Beatles fans, but like the Imagine song was not a conversation. It was just, join us because I'm the Swami. I know everything. This song is more like, hey, where would we be without love? And it leaves it open-ended, and you have to answer that question as a listener. Without love, where would we be now? And it makes you reflect on things and say, yeah, work would be a lot more meaningful if I did it for love, and struggling with your family is struggling. It's terrible, but at least you're with people that you love, and you're not like Miss Lucy. So there's a lot of, this is a song that like sticks with you and stays with you, and then that chorus like just drives it home, because that's the main part of the chorus is where would we be without love? Like, I just really, really, really love the song.
Yeah, and it said she lost her home and her family and she won't be coming back. And it goes right into without love. So it sounds like she can't endure whatever was the reason that she lost her family, and for whatever reason that she's leaving this town. And she's going to struggle, obviously, when you leave your connections and the people that you know. And she's leaving all of that. And because she can't stay there without love. Like, she
Right.
needs it. We need love. Like,
Right.
love is important to all of us.
Yeah. No, I thought that was... It's such an inspiring song to me. Like, this is a 10 for me. I think this is one of those songs that you absolutely have to listen to as a fan of music, especially if you're talking about American music. But sonically, this was just instrumentally, it was like right from the beginning, everything was so smooth and effortless. And it immediately put me in this like relaxed state, and the production was like out of this world.
Yeah, you said it was clean from the second it started, right?
Yeah, like it was just clean. Like they were clean vocally, they were clean instrumentally. This to me is like the epitome of 70s music. Like this is like, when I think about 70s music, like this is all the techniques, and everybody was just so smooth and chill. And I don't know what any of the band looks like, but when I imagine them in my head, they're just chill and cool. This is a 10 for me. This Revo, I don't know if Revo's still in here, but this is my favorite 1970s song. Okay. So we're on 1973 part 2.
Yep.
I think we've done 1971, I'm not sure. But of all the 70s songs, this is my favorite one so far.
Well,
because it has a good message, it's not preachy, and sonically it's insane, and the main thrust of the message you cannot get out of your head. Without love, where would we be now? Like, you cannot get that out of your head once you hear that chorus. Just perfect. It's a 10 for me.
Okay, 9.6 for me. We did the 50s and 60s, then we did the 70s, we did the 71, 72, and now we're on 73.
Yeah, this is just
bringing us through all of it.
So good.
So up next we have Deep Purple. I'm giving this one a 9.6, and
we did 71 and 72.
Yeah.
Imagine
I'm working on 73.
Yeah, and again, like I'm not dissing Imagine. Like, I gave Imagine a high score. I'm just saying, like, when I say the term preachy, it's very hard to like communicate a moral truth in a song without it being mega preachy. And like, this is like one of the things that like Christian authors struggle with all the time. Like, we're listening to this like Christian fiction book right now, and the guy is like, you can tell he just takes certain parts where he's just preaching. You know what I'm saying?
It's a lot.
How do you, Christian, we're the worst at it, but it's like, how do you get your message across without being, and I think this is the formula. The formula is ask a question, leave it open-ended so that the audience fills in those blanks. I'm going to take that away as a writing technique. You know, because look what he did in the chorus. Without love, where would we be now? Like, it's completely open-ended. Now, I will say that Imagine itself is also an invitation to participate, because he's saying imagine. But the thing is, it's not open-ended, because he says imagine, and then it's no religion, no. So it's his.
Yeah.
You know, whereas with this one, it's like, without love, where would we be?
Right.
And then you are challenged as the audience. Well, you fill in the blank. I just think that's brilliant writing. I really, really love this song. Where have you been all my life, Doobie Brothers? Revo, hear me.
Oh, boy.
This is a 10.
10 for Vinny,
10.
9.6 for me. We're coming right back with some Deep Purple, Woman
Deep
from Tokyo.
Purple, Woman from Tokyo. I don't think
back.
that's probably talking about Yoko and how she destroyed their band, huh? Woman from Tokyo, how she destroyed the Beatles. We shall return. Vin out.
Story out.
Gone. Revo night. We in here. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sory and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed, a child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
Deep Purple, Woman from Tokyo, is up next on our 1973
We are in the
Part
midst.
2.
We are in the midst of the 70s, dear listener. We are in the DeLorean, 1.21 gigawatts.
I wonder if I can do this. R-E-V-O. But it's backwards, so. Did it work?
It would probably just say over. Yeah,
I got
you did it. Hey, Revo.
Shout out to Revo.
Whoa. We got a famous person in the house. Micheline O'Rourke. My publisher just called me. We just passed 300 orders for my poetry book.
Good job.
MashaAllah.
That's cool.
MashaAllah.
That is cool. All right. This song was the lead single off the album We Do What We Think We Are. I'm sorry, Who Do We Think We Are? Released by their own Purple Records in the UK and Warner Brothers in the US. The album was their last to have Ian Gillan as vocalist, as they kicked him and the bassist Roger Glover out of the band at this time. The album isn't highly regarded, but this song became a radio hit. The song is thought to have been inspired by Deep Purple's tour of Japan. Their album before this was actually a live album called Made in Japan from that tour. The song only reached number 60 in the US. So not as popular, yeah? Well, it's called Woman from Tokyo.
We'll be the judge of that. Why?
So less American women are probably going to like it. Because it's about a woman from Tokyo.
That's true. That's very true. And that's not something you can, that you can replicate. That's a pretty exotic look. I was obsessed with Asian women back in the day.
You were?
Oh, yeah. I'll explain why at the end of the song. All right, guys, here we go.
I think I remember.
Woman from Tokyo. This is by a band by the name of Deep Purple. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. But here we go. Woman from Tokyo. Let's do this shiz. Wrong lyrics. How about this one? purple, dear listener.
right.
Deep freaking purple.
Woman from Tokyo. It's so interesting.
From Tokyo.
So instead of saying woman from Tokyo, if he would have said woman, and then he would have done like Tokyo, you know, like something to like throw off the sound, you know, when they go really high.
Yeah.
So he's actually saying Tokyo, but you're not sure. Then he probably would have gotten more numbers on the charts and would have made more money off it. You have to understand the American women.
We're
like
posting,
he probably would have made so much more money off it.
22 for Clarissa's birthday today.
Happy birthday, Clarissa.
Yeah, I think your original theory is right. I think it was doomed from the start because it says woman
No,
from
that's
Tokyo.
what I'm saying. If he said like Tokyo, but he like put it like where it would, you know, when they do like that really high pitch, like kind of like screaming stuff, because so you're like, was that a scream or was he saying kind of sounded like Tokyo? You know what I mean? Like so he could still do it while understanding what was gonna make him the most money.
Yeah, there's no way because it says flying into the rising sun. You know, Japan is a place of the rising sun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's too ethnic.
It's true.
It's too ethnic. Yeah. Okay, so my love affair with Asian people, women, started with the fact that I fell in love with video games. I was completely entranced by the Nintendo. So the first Christmas we had in this country, I mean, it was the greatest haul probably all time in Christmases. I'm talking about the Hot Wheels cars like that you could drive. I had a Corvette. My little brother had a truck.
Well, if you would have rolled up and given me a ride in your Corvette, I mean, my parents wouldn't let me.
I got a
would
bike.
have been happy you asked.
I had a bike, okay, shiny red bike.
Man,
and
you
then
got hooked up.
We got Atari and we got Nintendo. And I had no idea what the hell a Nintendo was. So when that thing first got plugged in, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. He's controlling that guy on the screen. Then we had Duck Hunt. Anyway, finally, I read the thing. It said made in Japan. And once that was it, I thought Japanese people were God. Like, how they were able to make Mario and all that shit. I was like, these people are divine people.
That's so
And then I saw that was it. I was in love with China. I was in love with anything Asian. See, I said Chinese. Or Japanese. I just completely fell in love with Asian women after that because Nintendo. And then, of course, I started watching, I was watching figure skating. That was like one of my favorite.
Really?
That was one of my favorite events in the Olympics was figure skating because there was so much tension.
Yeah.
Because you had to do the double axel or the triple axel and shit and you couldn't fall. And I just remember like my mom explained to me like, yo, listen, they do this for 4 years. They only do this once every 4 years. So they've been prepping their entire life for this moment. I'm like, yo, that pressure is insane. Yeah. And then you got to do this triple axel and shit.
Yeah.
And like you got to land it perfectly or your entire life is meaningless. So anyway, Christy Yamaguchi came through and got us the gold medal. She hit that triple axel. Then she hit a double axel. Bang! I was like, oh, I told you. Look at that. And I was like in love with Christy Yamaguchi because she was representing America. And I was like, America!
There we go.
You know what happens when you turn on the Olympics, dear listener, and you see that American there, and that little person has that little American flag icon by their name. You're like, oh hell yeah, we're gonna do this shit.
I've never watched the Olympics.
What? Oh my god, dude! I loved the Olympics when I was a kid because it was like complete American supremacy. We were going into other people's like countries and like snatching up all the gold medals. I was like, hell yeah! So Christy Yamaguchi was like it for me because like not only was she American, representing America and wrecking shop literally all over the planet, but she was also Asian. So that was it. Christy Yamaguchi was my girlfriend. I used to pray to God, like, how do I find a way to run into Christy Yamaguchi? Like, I was completely obsessed with her, bro. I loved her, man. I love her. And there goes big homie Dan. Well, you guys hit the pool, you got smashed by the Aussies. I don't care. You know what I do care about? Here's one thing I will give to Europeans, okay? In America, American formula standards haven't been significantly updated since 1980, dear listener. That's in America. Now, the European standards get updated quite frequently. As a matter of fact, they've recently updated again. our suppliers from Germany, and so they actually have higher standards than the European Union. If you are worried about the health and safety and nutrition of your child, check us out. Go to Amazon.com and type in Fuji in the search bar. We'll end up right there for you. Okay.
Our little guy is currently on that. It's working really well for us.
Yeah, we're giving Fuji to our kid. Yeah. So there you go. All right.
He's getting more and more each day that progresses.
Okay, so fly into the rising sun.
Yep.
Faces smiling, everyone. Yeah, she has a whole new tradition. I feel it. You know what? I feel like one of the Manosphere people were talking about this yesterday. About they call it. I forgot what they call it. Some sort of tourism. Like they call them passport bros. And what's happening is that the narrative is Western women, because of feminism, all the various ways of feminism, they've now become intractable, and so. Now Western men are so sick and tired of fighting with Western women that they get a passport and find a girl from the East because Eastern women know how to be submissive, blah, 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 blah. So it's very interesting considering the year, 1973. The feminist movement has kicked up in a full swing. So now you've got this ode to, 1973, Roe v. Wade. Now you've got this ode to these Eastern women. Mm-hmm. And look what he says, like, faces smiling, everyone. Yeah, she's a whole new tradition. I feel it in my heart. A new tradition.
Yeah.
Because Eastern women, stereotypically, I don't know, have typically the same sort of patriarchal traditions, and they're very, very welcoming. Mm-hmm. Right? Where, that was one of Kevin Samuel's big things is, why don't you smile? Telling the woman to smile, and then the guy says, give me a smile, and the girl's like, no, I'm not going to smile for you, or whatever.
Yeah.
And Kevin Samuels is like, that's okay. We'll just get on a plane and go where women will smile at us. So it's like the whole passport bro thing. I don't know how true or false that is, but, yeah.
Okay. To be balanced, I will say, like women in America, we've been... I can't speak for other countries because I have not lived significantly anywhere else. So I'm just speaking about my world. Women in America, we get objectified. Everything is about sex. Everything is about our bodies. Like the commercials come on and half the times I don't even know what they're selling.
I agree.
Because I'm like, we just saw the first half of this commercial. Where's that woman's ass rolling around in her bed? Like, what is this commercial for? And then it's for something else that you're like, that didn't need to be like that. That's just weird. Anyway, so I think that, and there's this, like when I worked in, it didn't get said, no, it did get said to me a couple times, but like I pretty much always had a freaking smile on my face because I felt like it would misrepresent Christianity if I wasn't like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I was always happy clappy, even if I was feeling depressed or whatever, but there would be once in a while where you'd catch me off guard and I would be thinking about something so deeply that I wasn't like in like, Barbie mode. So, and people, and it would always get said to me if I was like that, men would say, smile, blah, blah, blah. And like, it kind of gives you this feeling that it's like, okay, so not like, hey, how's your day going? They don't ask that question. Like, you're not smiling, so you need to smile so you can be the visual piece of eye candy that they want to look at. And you're better when you're smiling. That's how it comes across. Because they're not asking, how are you, or anything like that. It's just, you should be smiling. Well, anyway, I do think that's an issue. And I think that there's been I think that there has been a huge swing in it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously smiling at people and being friendly with people is a good thing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when that gets misinterpreted and then you end up with stalkers or people are too much in your space I don't know everybody's experiences. How I will say that I can understand why, even though some of the situation has been we're at this situation because of the patriarchy and the way that things have been. They're probably, the pendulum has really swung, and I could understand why a man would say, hey, like I want to have a family and I have a vision for my family. Like, I don't know if you noticed, it was said on that show last night, when he was talking to the girl and he was saying like, I have a vision for my family and what I want to do, and I want a woman that's going to come. But then he was like, I also want to support her dreams, but I wasn't actually convinced that that's what he wanted to do. Like, it looked like he just wants somebody that's going to jump in on his thing with him, and like they're going to go forward in whatever his dream is.
Yep.
And I think that there are women, like let's say the Asian women or whatever, where they're like, they're completely good with, like they're in like with the tradition of, you know, being helpful and serving and blah blah blah. And so he said like she does everything that he wants. She makes me feel like a river. She carries me away. He talks about how good she is to him. Like there are some cultures that that's how things are done, and it's not even like questioned. And I can see why somebody would not want to have the fight, and they would like to be with somebody that's just like, I'm completely good with just jumping in on what you're doing and helping you further this. I can see why men would want to do that. But at the same time, it's kind of like one of those situations where I'll feel bad for women, because we didn't just become like this overnight. Like there was a lot of situations that brought us to this point of feminism, where people felt like feminism was necessary.
I'm not saying that feminism is bad. I'm just saying that considering the cultural context, I understand why this experience would resonate with him. Because Western women are out there on the streets burning their bras and shit, and then you fly over to Japan and you've got this person who is extremely, you know, traditional, and he talks about it. She's my new tradition. Like, she's extremely traditional. There isn't that resistance. There isn't. And anytime you have a social revolution, you're raised a certain way. You're socialized a certain way. And then the social revolution happens, and there's all these new rules. And that's part of what's happening in today's culture. It's like, you have people that were raised a certain way their entire life, and now all of a sudden there's new rules, there's a new lexicon, there's new pitfalls, and it becomes very exhausting. A lot of like the anti-whatever, if you want to fill in the blanks for whatever, is not really because these people hate everybody. It's because they were socialized a certain way, and they're living in a world now that they don't understand and that they can't relate to. And now there's all these hidden pitfalls and landmines that you step into. If you say, you know, back in the day, all you used to have to worry about is like, yo, don't tell that girl congratulations for being pregnant. Like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Until she tells you she's pregnant, don't make that mistake. But now it's like, yo, what's good, man? It's like, how dare you assume my gender? It's just, it's exhausting for certain people. So when you go on a plane and then you land in a place and everything is welcoming and there are no landmines and the roles are clearly defined, I can understand why a person would say, okay, this is what I understand. This is what makes sense. This is what's logical, you know? And the other thing is, anytime you have a social movement, there are always extremists. And the extremists always get all the attention. So you have one kind of feminist that was like, yeah, it'd be cool if I could vote and use a credit card, but I still, you know, want to live with a husband and all this. And then you had other feminists who were more vocal that were saying, marriage is a rape contract, and burning their bras in the street and growing their armpit hair out and all the rest of it. Dude's like, yo, okay. Then you got this nice docile Eastern woman that's like, you know, making you tea and shit. You know, like I understand. I get it.
And I'm not saying I don't get it either, but I think that men in this country have benefited exponentially by the pathologies and the way that society has been structured for men, not for women. And so it's like, well, yeah, now you have generations of traumatized people, and I'm not blaming the men for that.
I reject the idea that society is structured only for men and not for women. I mean, the parents of these people went to World War II.
I didn't say only for men.
I don't even think society's primarily... Look, when it's time to go to war, women aren't going to war. These people's parents went to World War II, fucking died by the thousands every single day. So...
Yeah, but no, I'm talking.
It's
not the draft that made people go over the edge. It's people in marriages and relationships.
I didn't say the draft.
Men are going into war, women aren't.
You're talking about the way society is structured to benefit men in American culture, and what I'm saying is, well, yes and no, because when it's time to go to war, it's the men who go to war. I don't even talk about.
Yeah, but if you're talking the traditional Asian cultures, it's the men that go to war there too, right?
I agree. That's the difference. An Asian woman will say, I'll be fine and be submissive. If you're going to work and then you're going to go out and go to war and defend me from invading Americans, yeah, I'll stay home and cook and clean, no problem. Western women are saying, hey, if it's time to go to war or something goes bump in the night, you still got to go to that front door, but I'm still not going to wear a bra, man. It's like that meme that you sent me where it says Western women want all the privileges, but they don't want any of the responsibilities. So she still wants to burn her bra and do all that shit, but if when it's time to do jihad, that man is going out there. She ain't going out there.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all I'm saying is, like, I definitely think we're in a patriarchal...
Wait. You think that feminism... to be honest with you, you probably know more about the genesis of feminism than I do. You're saying that feminism got started because women wanted to burn their bras and not cook for men?
No, I believe that they had legitimate beefs, for sure. I mean,
then why are we talking about burning bras and not cooking?
Because what I'm explaining to you is why an Eastern woman would appeal to a Western man in 1973.
Oh, I totally agree with that from the beginning. I'm just saying, I don't think, like, just the same as, I'm not going to say that one, actually. I'll tell you offline, that one, but...
Revo, who has experience, will say, from my experience, Eastern women are not more subservient than Western. Well, were you dealing with Eastern women in the 70s? Because America is extremely influential, so I could see that mindset creeping in. But go ahead, finish your point. I'm saying, like, we're definitely in a patriarchal structure, but I don't think that the society is primarily structured to benefit men. I think Western society is structured around a nuclear family model. No,
okay, I will say, I don't think that society is structured for men like it used to be. Like, when we're talking 50s, 60s, 70s, like, maybe my time period is a little bit off. Like, the 50s, definitely, like, a woman had, like, this was her thing.
Like clearly defined roles.
Yes, it was clearly defined roles, but I guess, well, you know what? I might be just going off of, like, the trauma stories that I heard from other women. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe the 50s weren't as bad. Maybe it was just, like, because I think a lot of women, if they could get past the idea of, like, I don't know why that it gets categorized as, why are all of the roles that could be enjoyable for us, why are they bastardized to the point of, like, for instance, if you get pregnant, then, sometimes people are calling it like a, oh my God, like when something, like, takes on you and it's just, like, sucking everything out of you, a parasite. Yeah, like, here's this, like, a glorious thing where you're pregnant, but now it's being called parasitical.
Right.
Or you have like when I don't have, like, a whole bunch to do, if I have a bunch of work to do and I'm stressed out and I'm trying to cook supper, like, I'm not enjoying it. But if I could just enjoy cooking a meal with the music playing, the windows open and stuff like that, why would I choose to work in a factory over cooking a dinner in my own kitchen? Like, I don't understand, like, what. Well, no, the reason the women went was because of the war. The men were gone, so they had to start working. So it wasn't necessarily because they were sick of their roles.
Well, the other side of that, too, is that once they started working, they're like, financial independence. Because prior to that, there was no financial independence.
Right.
So if a woman couldn't divorce somebody, I mean, she could, but the problem is that guy made all the money. And a lot of times didn't have a college education, so you were screwed.
Yeah.
This whole, like, they stayed together a lot more about, I mean, they had no opportunity.
Yeah.
So then when the women hit the workforce and they started getting a taste of that power, they're like, wait a second. That's what I'm saying. Like, there are certain things that were valid that they're like, I absolutely support. The issue is most people are going to go with the path of least resistance.
Yeah.
So even if you're pro-feminist, it's still work. And so when you run into somebody who's, at least at the perception level, more submissive, gonna have less arguments for you and things, like, dudes don't want to fight all the time about every little thing. Like, a lot of this whole patriarchy stuff for a lot of guys is just laziness to some, or exhaustion to some degree. Like, yo, I don't want to fight over every little thing here. Let's just do this, and this. And guys usually will just activate the power button so they don't have to deal with the stress. But if you're not that type,
that you're talking about, like
well, I'm a dude, so I don't know.
No, but you're talking from your perspective, and I feel like that you're different than
I know
other
a lot
guys.
of dudes that are really exhausted by, like, having to fight about everything and justify everything. It's just exhausting to a lot of dudes. So it's just like with it's a bad metaphor, but it's just like with parents. It's like you don't want to sit there and talk to your kid. You're just going to enforce your Sharia onto them. And a lot of dudes are like, they don't want to argue. I just saw this. I'm not going to get into that, but like, that's a lot of it. It's not even like I have this understanding. I'm a man, therefore I X, Y, Z. It's just, man, I'm exhausted arguing with you about everything. Like, this is what we're going to do. Like, that's it. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying I understand the impulse. And what my point is, even if you support that, you support, women having the right to go on and do that, people are always going to default to human nature, which is the path of least resistance. So if you've got one person that's like arguing with you every step of the way, and you got another person that's like, can I make you some tea? Then obviously you're gonna be infatuated with, can I make you some tea? I don't know if you're gonna marry that person for a lifelong commitment, but it's just human nature to just go with the path of least resistance. So I understand, where he's going. I also understand why it didn't take off in America, which kind of proves the point of the song in the first place.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Shout out to Deep Purple to 9.2.
Yeah.
Guys are fighting during their work week. They don't want to come home to their wife and have to fight about anything. We want our woman to be our peace. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah. I mean, it does make sense.
I get it.
I think sometimes that we're kind of stuck underneath like ideas. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, I like to have the windows open and have barefoot and be cooking in the kitchen. I enjoy that.
Yep.
Well,
in certain circumstances. Go ahead.
Right, you understand.
I completely understand and completely valid, for sure.
Yeah. So, like, but I think that, like, for the longest time, I wouldn't even say that out loud because it was like such a big, like, oh my god, like she's pregnant and she's barefoot and she's cooking and it's like, yeah, but like
that's women that made you feel uncomfortable about that.
Right, exactly. It was always women that would make you feel bad about it. And it's like, well, I used to have a garden. I loved going out to my garden with my bare feet, feeling my feet in the dirt, and then coming in and throwing the string beans into the pot straight from the garden. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and you were the world's greatest gardener.
I loved it. It was so therapeutic. It was so enjoyable. A lot of thinking time when you're out there, whatever. But anyway, like, I do think, like, it is kind of a messy situation because I think that there's whole generations of women that have been teaching women beneath them, teaching women and been teaching women, and this has been going on for so long that it seems like some horrible crime to have to like cook every day for someone. It is like, when you think about it, it's like, oh my god, especially like you're not the type of person that's like, let me have a bowl of cereal for breakfast. You want something cooked, so it's bacon. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, hey, just grab a bowl of cereal. It's bacon, which is, even when you look at, like, I mean, it could be a giant meal. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I think that we get stuck in this idea.
You're not making the bacon, though.
No, I am.
Johan makes. She doesn't make the bacon. Johan makes it. I just wanted that clarified.
Well,
for the
yeah,
purposes
but I'm
of
not
this
just a homemaker either. I'm running businesses, so.
I'm with you. I'm just saying, you're not making the bacon.
Yeah,
ever.
I rarely make his bacon. I mostly just make the suppers. But
okay.
But it still comes to the point. Like, is it?
Is what?
Well, I just kind of resent, like, the way that you just said that, because it's like, I'm not just a homemaker. When I was just a homemaker,
I never said you were a homemaker. I never said you were just that. What are you talking about?
Well,
all I said was that you're not the one that makes the bacon.
Yeah. Okay.
What? No, explain that. What's the problem?
Well,
I never said you were just a homemaker.
Yeah, I know, but you're like, well, to be clear, you're not making the bacon. It was just weird to me because it's like, well, yeah, but I'm not. I'm doing multiple business and, like, suppers and stuff like that. But I don't have a traditional situation. Like, we don't have a traditional. Why are you making a face?
but like, that's not an issue with us. Like, we never have conflicts about you being a traditional woman versus.
Oh, well, that's because the conflict is internal, and I recognize it a lot. Well, especially in a conversation like this.
Now, what's the internal conflict?
That I'm not traditional. We haven't been traditional. Of course, you're not a traditional man in a relationship.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of impossible to be a traditional anything with me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I make that pretty impossible.
Yeah, but at the same time, you're
but
completely traditional when it comes to, like, male-female roles of, like, your own.
What do you mean?
Like, we were that crash the other night, and, like, I went out into the hallway and you were like, you went downstairs. You know what I'm saying? Like, you went to go check to see what's going on. Like, you're very traditional in the, like, protection roles or, you know, like, yeah, I'm working the businesses with you, but I don't feel the financial burden or anything.
I don't feel a financial burden either. I mean, you're contributing, I'd say it's a lot more than 50-50 to what happens to the income stream in this household. So, like, I'm not a traditional guy relative to the guy brings home the bacon. You know, we're both equally. There's nothing that I do now in the current iteration of our relationship that you're not doing to generate revenue.
Yeah, I think for me, I can't.
So I'm not a traditional. I'm not, like, obviously if there's a danger issue, like, I'm not gonna go, well, it's 2023. It's obviously I'm going down there. I'm not.
Yeah.
I don't want you down there.
Yeah, but you're traditional in the sense that, like, you never think, oh, I should do the laundry. You know what I mean? Like, that's not something that comes into your head. Like, I feel like I have the full, you know, like, laundry's mine, supper's mine, like, whatever. Like, I feel like that those are traditionally my roles.
Well, that's why it's important.
I'm not doing the full tradition.
That's why important. That's why I said, like, that's why it's important to me to say you weren't cooking the bacon. In the same way that I say I'm not generating 100% of the funds. Like, I'm not a traditional guy as far as provide goes, because it's supposed to be provide and protect. You're providing just as much as I'm providing. So I'm not traditional in that sense. But if somebody's coming to the door, obviously, I don't even look at it as traditional. It doesn't matter who's in the house. I'm going down there anyway. But if it's you, I don't give a fuck about tradition or not. I'm never going to let anybody hurt you. Like, people going to die. So, yeah, I mean, I guess I'm traditional that way. But we're not. I don't perceive myself to be a traditional husband. You're not a traditional wife at all. We're just us, and I'm good with that. I don't need, like, oh, I need to bring in, you know, the whole manosphere bullshit. Oh, you're a beta male, your wife is generating 50% of the revenue. That's why I say, like, I'll happily say I'm a beta male. I don't care about none of that shit. Like, I don't care about any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. But it appears that you care about it a little bit, like.
I do, yeah. I do, especially because even when you were talking about it, it seemed like that was something that would be important to you, like, you know, I on occasion will be like, here's the cup, let's have some tea, but I'm not like an every night. Now, I used to be like that. Like, I used to live like super rigid, like everything was timed. It was like everything was very, very rigid. Well, I'm not like that anymore. I can't even be like that anymore in our relationship. Like, the way that we are is just
That's
very...
impossible to be rigid in our relationship.
Yeah. You're like, worm culture, time doesn't exist. You know,
yeah.
This physicality. It's like, well, what's left here, Ben? Well, love is important.
Yeah, love is important.
God.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I think it's just, and it's probably something that we have to talk more about, because the traditional roles, like, I think that they're important, but I guess I haven't managed my schedule in such a way that I can enjoy when I do the traditional stuff. Like, I'm literally friggin' throwing supper together to come up to do the stream. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Like, a lot of life is really based around the streams, but
yeah,
you know, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a trade-off. Like, we're working now in an hour where most people are not working; they're relaxing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And we know all the shit that happens in the background to get all the shit up there. It's a pretty big job.
Right.
That's why I'm saying, like. I don't care about being traditional or not. You know what I'm saying? I just care about, like, our specific relationship. But I like the song. It's a solid 8.9 for me.
This one's weird because I feel negatively about the song because of the topic that went along with it. And
it's not just me reading into it, Revo. She hates the song. What can you do? I don't think he was making a point about that. I think he's just talking about his experience. I'm just kind of speculating as to understanding his seats in Laban, understanding why this woman would have struck him so much. I'm not saying that he's saying this in the song. I'm just saying, like, it is curious to me, considering the situation in life of Western men in the 70s, why a woman like that would appeal to him. I'm not saying that that's exactly what's going on with him. I like the song, though. I'm actually going to bump it up to a solid 9. Solid 9.
Well, let me rate this before you, like, give it a friggin' 10 or something. I'm going to give this one...
Seneca's good, man. He's loud. He's got a personality.
He loves me.
I'm starting to like him now, so that's cool.
Oh my God. Okay.
We had some problems at the beginning because the delivery was so hard that it was very, very hard on her. So I was like, man, fuck this kid, bro.
Literally the worst delivery I've ever had. Honestly, there was a part I hit where I looked at Vin and I said, I want to die. Literally, if God would have taken me right then, I would have had zero regrets. I would have thanked him.
Yeah, and of course, as soon as he came out, she was all, oh, but I was like, man, fuck this kid, bro.
So bad.
Then I was like, oh, I'll change when they, they brought him in, after they cleaned him up and shit, they brought him in, he was looking all pristine. I looked at him and I'm like, still fuck this guy, bro. Like, we had
there's a picture of Vin's like looking. It's such a romantic picture. Like you can see the clock in the background that shows the time. Vin's looking at me, and I had just had the baby. It's a perfect picture. And when I looked at the picture, I was like, oh my gosh, like he was looking at me when a baby had just been born. Like this is like super significant. Like wow, like. And then I found out you were mad at the homie. I was like,
it took me a really long time to forgive him for how hard that birth was, man. Like
I don't know why.
Which is completely it's completely irrational.
It's completely.
But
like it was rough for him too.
But he smiled. Yeah, he was. I'm sure it's probably a little bit difficult for him. He's like he smiles now and all that shit. And I was like, well, remember the Lord's like, are you gonna forgive the kid now for
I
fucking
know, and he
existing,
watches
you
you play your guitar, and he's like, look.
Oh yeah, he's very like he saw me today. He saw me today when we walked in, and he's like, and he was trying to like get to me and shit. I was like, okay. So we're like patching up our relationship, but yeah,
He's not quite 6 months yet.
The first couple months, man. And I felt bad. I talked to you about it one time, like my perspective on the delivery, which is ridiculous. Like you went through it, so it was ridiculous for me to even like be upset or depressed
it was
or
really
whatever,
helpful to hear you
depressed or whatever
about
it was. But I had a very, very hard time, like for weeks after that delivery. That was the hardest one I've ever been to.
I know this is gonna sound really
and
sick.
I had
me.
issues. I had issues for a while.
That helped me, like, to feel like that level of support from you, that you were so deep in it with me that, like, I went through weeks of healing after having the baby, like months of healing. So you having to take time to heal after was like, it just felt like you were still there with me.
Yeah, I know you said that, but it just felt like so self-centered. Like I hate when people are going through a tragedy directly, and then the other person makes himself the victim. Like I hate that shit. But I did express it to you that one time, and
I told you it doesn't hit me like that. It doesn't make me think, oh, Vin's trying to make himself the victim in my situation.
No, I know. It was just my own personal code. Yeah, but like now, me and the homie, we're good now, and you're okay. Like now, I can see like physically, like okay, you're making a comeback and all this, and so now me and the baby are cool. But before, nah. I had a serious problem. Because it's one of those things where there's always this loopholes that God puts me in. It's like, I'm like, yo, anybody that hurts her, okay. Anybody that hurts her, we go, okay. And then it's like, okay, well, now it's your son. So now what are you going to do?
Now what?
Now what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I won't hug him. God's like, he won't care. He's got his mom and care about you. There's nothing you can do about it. That was the hard part for me. Is like somebody hurt you and there's nothing I could do about it. Like that was a real problem for me. But anyway, this has nothing to do with Deep Purple. This is a 9.
Okay, this is an unfair rating, but it's a 7 for me.
You're good. She's giving this a 7 because it's an ode to Asian women. Sorry, Revo. Sorry. Oh my goodness gracious! Shout out to Baby Seneca. Shout out to Baby Sen. Shout out to Revo. We shall return, dear listener. We are the weirdest couple on the internet. I swear to God. Vin out.
Sorry out.
God, holy shit! Somebody called the. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itstory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sory and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them. We need a thumbnail for this thing, by the way. A child shall lead them, dear listener.
To buy our merch.
To buy our merch.
All right.
I did not give it a 9.7. I gave it an 8.7, and then I bumped it up to a 9.0. Okay, here we are, dear listener. It is... We're all in a DeLorean.
If your girl lands in some kind of crazy car crash, Vinny's gonna go for some traditional Asian lady. We know now.
Well, maybe Indian. Maybe Indian.
Yeah, Indian. There
like
you go.
literally from India.
Yep, you would.
Literally from India. We're in a DeLorean, dear listener. 1.21 gigawatts. We are now in 1973. The big homie DJ Revo is here. He's our DJ extraordinaire.
Poor Revo. He usually puts these big long ones. They're getting so short because he must not feel good. Hope you feel better.
Don't make him feel bad about that. Steely Dan, reel it in the
I
years.
wasn't trying to make him feel bad for it. It was me being concerned for the homie.
I know.
Oh, way to
I'm
turn
just
that
not. I'm
around.
just not used to all the concern. You know, you show a lot of concern for Revo. Revo this, Revo that. I don't know.
You'd never know I stay up till like 5, 8
Kinda
o'clock in the
suspect.
morning sometimes.
Talking about Revo. We were up pretty late talking about Revo, but that's because his stream was coming up very soon. We were speculating on what the songs were going to be.
Steely Dan, Reelin' in the Years is what's up next. This is their second single off the album Can't Buy a Thrill, released by ABC Records. The solo in the song is supposedly Jimmy Page's favorite of all time. The song hit number 11 in the US, so let's check it out.
All right, here we go. Fun fact, everybody. American Woman is an anti-American song, not about an actual woman. So there's that. Also, if you're new, like, share, comment, subscribe. Welcome to the village, everyone. This is Steely Dan is the name of the band. The name of the song is Reeling in the Years. The year's 1973. Let's do this shit. Oh, I made an error. Good Lord. All right, let's try this again. Sorry, guys. That's pretty anticlimactic there. Who's that lady? All right, let's try this again. Reeling in the Years. Steely Dan. Let's part 2.
Is she hot?
She all right.
Everlasting summer, you can see it fading fast. So you grab a piece of something that you think is gonna last. Well, you wouldn't even know a diamond if you held it in your hand. The things you think are precious, I can't understand. Are you reeling in the years? Stowing away the time?
Oh, I like that
Are
harmony.
you gathering up the tears? you had enough of mine? Are you reeling in the years, stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? You've been telling me you're a genius since you were 17. And all the time I've known you, I still don't know what you mean. The weekend at the college didn't turn out like you planned. The things that pass for knowledge I can't understand. Are you reeling in the years, stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? Are you reeling in the years, stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? I spent a lot of money and I spent a lot of time. The trip we made to Hollywood is etched upon my mind. After all the things we've done and seen, you find another man. The things you think are useless I can't understand. Are you reeling in the years, stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? Are you reeling in the years, stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine?
Song.
Wow. I'm blown away by this song, dude. There's a couple of these songs, these 70s songs, bro. There was I don't know which one I gave a 10 a couple songs ago. What was it that
Oh, it was the 1973
It was a Doobie Brothers joint. The Doobie Brothers joint I gave a 10 to.
Long Train Running.
Man. Okay, first of all, again, that chorus technique that they did in the 70s, that harmony technique that they did in the 70s, there it is again. And somebody mentioned this, Black Queen, I think it was. He said, or she said, I don't know, Black Queen, they said proto-Maiden guitar harmonies. Because remember I said that that's two guitars and they were harmonizing on that one? That it's true, that's like before Iron Maiden's time, but they were doing shit that Iron Maiden picked up on that guitar harmony concept and then went took it to the nth degree. But yeah, definitely, I definitely see like this. That's what I'm saying. It's like Maiden took that. I'm not saying they listened to this one song and created their entire style. Ridiculous. I'm just saying like the technique of that kind of harmony in the context of the riffage and things like that. They took that technique and then just fucking made it a staple to their sound. And that's what I'm saying. Like I would love to take some of these ideas and techniques from the 70s, because I don't know, I'm not gonna say it's a golden age of music because I don't know enough about music, but these songs are bangers, man.
See, I've
These
never
songs are
seen you
bangers.
come up with something that I'm like, that's trash. Like, whether it's you're decorating something or you're creating music or you're, you know, writing report or a business plan. Like, it's always good. And the stuff that you use, it's okay. It's not for corny. So I think that when you have this idea, like, I'm not really sure how it's going to manifest itself. Like, because I don't have all it in my head, but every time that you have something like that, it always seems good. So I'm curious to try it.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Overshadow Sean in the house. Sean, we're in a time machine. We're all gonna be in the 70s. Next time, we got to buy some 70s gear.
Oh, like what?
Like, damn it, I wish we did, like, if I could go back into a DeLorean like 2 months ago, I'd have bought some like 70s gear to wear.
Oh.
You know them shirts and shit? Like the colorful flowery shirts,
so
like the
fun. Yeah, we should have been.
And then you would have had the little headband and the little thing.
When we would have done the 50s. Is that the 50s? I would have worn a poodle skirt.
Yeah, the 50s. I would have just had to have like
about that.
I had to bring like chains or some shit. That was the 50s. Is that too soon?
You know, I really
strike that from the record.
I really hate it when stuff like that happens. Like, you know, how people say, "Oh, I don't see color," blah blah blah. Babe, I do forget a lot of times that you're black. And the same thing happened to my friend when I was in college. I told her, I was like, when we get to the city, let's go to the tanning booth. She was like, "Sorry, what the? Why would I need to go to the tanning booth?" And I was like, "Oh my god,
your black
that's
friend?
right, yeah."
Well, obviously, we're not going to have the weed and the smoking papers, Andre.
Oh
but,
my god.
But
ridiculous.
And then I could make the background music all shafty and shit.
Yeah, babe. I think you've got something though.
Yeah, I should have known.
Yeah.
I definitely would, because I could keep the bandana in 70s day. I should have known. Damn it! Damn you, Revo! Why did you suggest this to us?
Also, we may have some exciting news, like, coming really soon. And if it's exciting for us, it's exciting for you too, Amy. So, if the news gets exciting for us, we'll probably be having an Evanescence reaction soon.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I'd have an Evanescence night, for God's sake. Okay, so here we go.
Thank you, Ben. No, I'm not pregnant.
That's so funny. We were just at her dad's house last week, and like we had some good news for them, but it was about the Amazon business. Speaking of which, most baby formula companies haven't been updating their safety standards since 1980 in the United States, and that's why we had to go overseas to the European Union, which updates there a lot more significantly. And our suppliers from Germany, who's at the top of the European Union. You can check us out. Go to Amazon.com, type Fuji in there, and you can get yourself some healthy
G-I-E.
baby firmware. Foodgie. Okay, go ahead.
Whenever you do that, I want you to do Jimmy Dore's voice when he does that.
I'll tell you why.
Oh, anyway, so
this was
back
such
to
a
the
good
song. Back to the song.
You that's another thing that stays in your head. Are you reeling in the years? Another time.
Yeah.
Like, it just stays with you. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, there's nothing to apologize for. You're everlasting summer and you can see it's fading fast, so you grab a piece of something that you think is going to last. Well, you wouldn't even know a diamond if you held it in your hand. The things you think are precious, I can't understand. Oh. Are you reeling in the years, stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine? So, it's a relationship song.
Well, yeah.
But it's not going well.
Yeah, I think it's
they have different priorities.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, they have different priorities, and it's like, when are you going to grow up? Mm-hmm. Like, are you you're assuming that you can have like this summer fling because you're just assuming that time's on your side. So he's like, really? Are you reeling in the years? Are you stowing away the time? Like, you found a way to do that? Because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So here you are, you've got this summer fling, your everlasting summer, you see it fading, you grab a piece of something, you think that's going to last. So it's like, you just threw away a significant relationship for some ridiculous summer fling. That's how I'm interpreting it, because he was like, the things that you think are precious, I can't understand.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of somebody like at a midlife crisis point.
Yeah,
everlasting summer, and you can see it's fading fast.
Right.
So you grab a piece of something that you think is going to last.
Right.
Right. So she had something that was valuable, something that was a diamond, but she threw that away for something else.
Right.
So that,
right.
you know, like, I think I don't completely understand it, but it like older women hitting that point where they want to know if they still have it, so they go after like a kid that's not far off from their kid's age, weird stuff like that. You know, like,
or the dude like gets the Corvette, gets a crazy tan, and then you see him with some 25-year-old.
Yeah. It's
like, what are you doing, bro? That could be your daughter.
Yeah.
Like we've had this conversation. Like, the older you get, like, 20-year-old seems like a kid now. So I can't imagine, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because...
Like, I see a 20-year-old, like, I want to tell her, like, some wisdom or something.
It's weird. It's weird. Like, yeah, like, we go to things now. Like, I went to the walk-in clinic, the doctor's office that you just walk into, and I was like, why are they having, this place is run by children? And, like, the doctor that came in was younger than I was, so it was just a weird... I was like, this person made it all the way through college, and here they are.
Just now made it through college.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, they're that young, and they
that's
just...
what I'm saying.
Like, they've gone all the way through college, but they look that young. They look like they should have just got their driver's license, for God's sake. But, yeah, so that was kind of like... And it seems like it's been hard, because it says, are you reeling in the air, stowing away the time? Are you gathering up the tears? Have you had enough of mine?
Right.
Like, I think that, you know, like, stuff hasn't been good for the two of them. And instead of, like, standing there and recognizing that they had a diamond and working that out, like, it seems like she kind of threw it away to go after something else that was shiny. Like, because he uses the diamond analogy, and there's that whole thing, like, you chase after what's shiny.
Right.
It's not what's, you know...
Right.
You went after tinfoil when you had a diamond. You know?
Yeah, but that course is crazy. Like, are you reeling in the years? Like, like you could just... I think it's just about, like, that assumption that you have time to work your crazy out.
Yep.
And like, I think the younger you are, the more susceptible you are to that kind of error.
Yeah.
The older you are, when you start losing people randomly, like you get a car, you know, somebody died in a car accident or like some weird shit, like you start to realize your own mortality, and you start to realize how precious time is, and you don't want to waste time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, because the more of that mortality that you're exposed to, the more you start appreciating certain things, and then you don't feel like, I'm not going to put shit off to tomorrow, it can be done today, because tomorrow might not come. But this person is taking everything casual. You've been telling me you're a genius since you were 17, and all that time I've known you, I still don't know what you mean. The weekend at the cause didn't turn out like you planned. The things that pass from the knowledge I just can't understand. Like, that's another one that's pretty crazy. Like, the pseudo-intellectualism, and definitely in the 70s, I could definitely see, like, where a lot of this, like, pseudo-intellectual bullshit started really, really, like, coming to the fore. And so now, like, when I turn on TV, and, yeah, I talked about this on Middle America, like, you turn on TV and somebody's like, the intersectional ramifications of the cis heteronormative blah, 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 and, like... And then dude's just like looking at the camera like, oh, yeah, we understand.
It's not just on that topic
like, yeah.
either. It's just
no,
like lots
it's not
of topics.
that. It's just this...
People bringing up stuff that doesn't, like... People will bring up Marxism when it has nothing to do with the topic.
Oh, yeah.
And then it just throws people for a loop, throws people off. People don't know what's happening. People think it's too complicated to understand, and then it gets dispensed with, and issues go undealt with. It's just...
Yeah, and then you got, like... It's just like higher education.
Yeah,
like the stereotype of higher education. It's like... Yeah, there's definitely that elitist mindset, like, where it was like, what's her face? That lady on the news during the 2022, midterms or whatever, and she was like, basically, normal people don't know anything about inflation. So that was like something that the Republicans just shot into the media. It's like, what are you talking? Like, that's the way they think. They think that normal people don't understand basic things like them, and it's their job to explain things to the rest of us idiots, when in reality it's like, yo, a lot of the shit that passes is as intellect. Like, it's funny, like, I got a good friend, me and him are like going back and forth about, you know, this whole local realism thing. And like, when Einstein came about with his version of reality, it completely contradicted Newtonian physics. So the Newtonians, which was a majority report, obviously, for that generation in Einstein, they were completely against him. So if you were an intellect at the time and Einsteinian thought first got introduced, they were mocked. They would make fun of it. They would laugh at it. Well, a generation later, Einstein wins that debate, and so now we're all Einsteinian. And now what's happening is Einstein had these debates about local realism and spooky action at a distance and quantum particle entanglement. And he's saying, well, no, they can't be communicating with each other like that because that would be faster than the speed of light. And we know that that's impossible. And it also denies realism. So there's some hidden variable that makes it so that these things can talk to each other. We've got hidden. And so now what happens is we're in an Einsteinian age. And so if you're an intellect in the scientific category, you're Einsteinian, and all this quantum physics stuff is all wooey, nonsense. And now it's just a fact. Local realism is false. Einstein was wrong. That's definitively been proven.
Crazy.
We've closed all the loopholes. There are no hidden variables, which itself is a contradictory term because Einstein, if they're hidden, how do you know they're there? And then what that comes down to is physicalism itself and the concept of materialism itself is on the chopping block and is in a lot of trouble.
Yep.
And so me and this dude are having this conversation, and it's a good conversation that we're having, and he kept posting, these experts or whatever, these physicists, and I said, I get it, bro, but they're interpreting the data from a physicalist assumption. Have they done anything to justify that philosophical assumption? And the answer after a while was, well, no. I'm like, exactly. This is an assumption. Yeah. But it's clear that this generation of physicists, Neil deGrasse Tyson, they don't want to let go of Einstein. So the next generation of physicists are going to validate all this shit. This shit. So my point is, in higher education, you have so many of these like sort of ideas that the data can prove to be wrong. Like the data proves clearly that Einstein was wrong. But it wasn't that Einstein and us were seeing different data points. It was, this contradicts my original presupposition, so it can't be right. And that's the flaw in higher education, is because they have this idea that they're the elite. When their presuppositions get challenged, they don't feel the need to justify those presuppositions or modify those presuppositions based on the data. What they do is they take the data and try to squeeze it fit into those presuppositions. So when you see something like quantum entanglement and spooky action at a distance, instead of saying, oh, then physicalism is wrong, he's going to say, oh, there's a hidden variable in there that we can't figure out, because he's trying to make the data fit. And because he can't make the data fit, he's saying, well, he just created this whole category of, it's like dark matter. He just created out of whole cloth this new category, and everybody else under them is not going to question them for obvious reasons. So I do think, but
it's go ahead, finish.
No, go ahead.
It's crazy because there's so many, like, Christians have been doing that for a while, where they'll take something that's not even in the Bible, but they're trying to like prove it by the Bible because they have to believe that it exists,
right?
Whatever. And like everybody can see that. They're like, that's not saying that, that's not like that. But Christians will still stand behind it. Like, in regards to a lot of the stuff that's in Genesis, like people will want to argue it when we're not even sure, like, okay, was it a literal snake? Was it an angelic being? Was it? And
right.
People will like go there trying to argue it because they want it to. And what I'm saying is that other people are able to see through that when it's our religion.
Right.
And I think that you should be able to see through that, because there are times people are trying to justify stuff that's not there. But at the same time, you got to look at your own worldview and see if you're not doing the same thing.
That's exactly right. Because
because if you don't assume that you're going to have presuppositions in your belief system, then you're already coming in at a disadvantaged point, because everybody has presuppositions. You have to question.
Right. You have to consistently question and validate your presuppositions.
Right.
Like everybody has them. Right. It's not crazy to have you have to have presuppositions in order to reason. The issue is, does the data match with that? And does it make your presupposition more or less likely to be false? And so that's that sort of self-critique at the intelligentsia level doesn't happen until you get another generation of folks who say, no, Newton was wrong, Einstein is right, and no, Pice is right, Bell is right, Einstein was wrong. And then it's like Hoffman said, in another 50 years, they're going to figure out how we were wrong. Like that's that's the nature of knowledge. Like there's a, if you have that as your epistemology, where like this is the more data we accumulate and the more discipline we put toward a topic, the more we're going to discover. It automatically creates a sort of epistemic humility to where everything is fair game. But that's not what's happening on the. It's like M. Defman was saying, or look what happened during the COVID response. It was like, hey, there's no room for debate. There's no room for discussion. This guy in the intelligentsia in this department says that's, I mean, really one or two people. And now we're going to do this with the entire country because and there was a lot of condescending, like, we know what's best for everybody, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, and then it comes out, it's like, well, you know, we didn't publish this data here. We didn't do this. We didn't do that. You know, it creates a lot of distrust with the intelligentsia. And so if there was just a little bit more epistemic humility, then things would be different. You know what I'm saying? Like if there was more, yeah. But that I really enjoyed this song because it was commentary on society as to what people value, because he went back to the relationship in the third verse. You know, it was very interesting, like, to see like what this person valued. You know, at the end,
because at the end
I
she
spent a lot of money.
else.
The trip we made to Hollywood is etched upon my mind. After all the things we've done and seen you find another man, the things that you think are useless, I can't understand. So in the first verse, he says, the things you think are precious, I can't understand, which is this girl wanted just the experience of a summer fling and all the rest of it and threw him away. And then because the experience of the high of the summer fling was precious to her.
Yep.
And then in the third verse, he talks about how she viewed him, which is he was useless because, you know, whatever. So I thought, I mean, it's just a well-written song, man. It's brilliant.
Oh, shoot. Because he said, I spent a lot of money. I spent a lot of time. We took a trip to Hollywood. It's etched upon my mind.
Right.
And after all that, she still looked at him like he was useless.
Right.
Wow, that's going to hurt. It's like, what did you want from him? Like, what was going on? Like,
and of course, it's like, oh, you spent a lot of money. So what does that mean?
No, but he said, I spent a lot of time.
Right.
Like, I felt like that he kind of like boxed it in to say, like, I wasn't being cheap and I also wasn't
right.
like trying to give her stuff, but not actually being there with her. He's like, I was there with her. We spent money. It was such a great time. He had a great time with it, but she...
And time actually is more valuable to me than money is.
Yeah.
So, like, but what he's saying is, doesn't matter what, I mean, those are people's really top two values, to be honest with you, is time and capital. So it's like, you know, when people say, oh, I want to be able to go on a vacation, I want to be able to do this, I want to be able to do that. It takes money to do a lot of those things. Money, it gives you access to those experiences. And I'm not judging people for it because we are in a material platform. So you're gonna do that. But so, yeah, it seems like he genuinely cared about her and he feels used and dispensed with. But I'm sure, you know, a lot of women feel the same way, you know, when they give, you know, for a woman to give you her body, that's a pretty high, and a lot of dudes, you know, have not, understood how impactful that is to a woman either. So it's like, yeah, you know, like it happens both ways. In this kind of situation, he just, you know, it's kind of crazy. Like, it doesn't matter. You could be a famous rock star. If she ain't into you, bro, she ain't. And that's the thing. Like, that's what people don't understand. Like, I try to explain. It's like, if she's with a rock star, and if she's the type of person where a rock star would spoil her like this, then there are other rock stars who would do the same for her. So it's like the luster and the shine of, ooh, I'm with a rock star, like, doesn't really affect her that much because apparently she was a catch for any of these rock stars or any actor, because he was in Hollywood. He mentions that they were in Hollywood, so it could very easily be that some actor swept her off her feet for a summer. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, it doesn't matter, like, how a lot of dudes think this, like, oh, if I get enough money, this is another one of those things that I can't stand of the manosphere. It's like this idea, if you get a lot of money, you get all this, you'll get a girl and she'll be loyal to you for the rest of her life because, you know, women are, you know, whatever. But it's like, but if you're going after that girl, there's another multimillionaire that's going after her too. So you're just a normal guy to her. You're not this, you know, whatever. I mean, it might impress a girl for whatever, but if you're talking about a lifelong relationship with somebody that you can build with, all your money and your cars and shit is not going to buy you that. You still have to, at the end of the day, she still has to choose you as a person. Like, period. Like, yeah, if you get a bunch of money and accumulate power, you can get a bunch of groupies. I'm sure he had a bunch of groupies. But as far as, like, every dude at some point in their life wants some sort of genuine, real relationship where, especially if you're entrepreneurial, like, you want somebody that believes in your vision and can build with you. Like, that's like, I don't know, it's an enhancement to our relationship, but it gives me a lot of pride to say that you and I are like 50-50 as far as like contributing to the household. We're in a very unique circumstance. Like, if we were not in this age, I'd be out there working or whatever. I would never have you outside working for another dude. Like, that would never happen. But the fact that me and you can work together and build like that like,
yeah.
So like, if you're one of these like type A entrepreneurial, I'm going to start a business type of thing, like, that's like the peak, man, if you can do that with your partner. So you still have to have a personality, and the girl still has to choose you in order for you to have a real significant relationship. It doesn't matter how much money you make and how much material you accumulate. It doesn't matter. So
yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, there's always the concept of the grass is greener on the other side. Like, the phrases get made because lots of people understand them and they can relate to those phrases. And unfortunately, like, you don't know the whole story by what we're seeing here, but it sounds like he was trying to treat her good. They were trying to have a good summer. They were, you know, doing different things, but it doesn't seem like that she could be satisfied or she could be happy. And I think that sometimes relationships actually, they have problems, and they need to, most relationships have problems. You gotta work through the issues, obviously.
They all have problems.
But there are some relationships that the problems are very significant, and you really need to get help. And then there are other relationships where the issues are not that significant, but people see everything is about how much, what you pour into it for meaning. So, you know, there was that story, I think about it semi often because I always would love to be this type of person. But the husband was having he was like a worship leader or something like that, and he was like playing the piano, and he was playing some, and then he stopped playing and he just started crying, and his wife was like, what's going on? And then he told her that he was having a real hard time. I guess there was like some new young woman that showed up to church or whatever, and he was having an issue because he found her so attractive, and he found himself attracted to her, and she wrapped her arms around him or something, and she basically just
she said, you're not an angel, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah, is that what she said? You're not an angel? Like, she was basically,
you're a
like,
man, you're not an
understanding that he was a human being, and you know, like, so I think that, you know, that there is a part of that. I think that they ended up playing the hymn together or something.
Yeah.
After that, but you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes a relationship has significant issues. Sometimes people make issues out of stuff that's not issues. And sometimes, like, you have to understand the humanity of, there's been so many times in our relationship where I'll like talk to you about something and you'll just be like, understand that I'm a human being. I'm not going to be, you know, nobody's going to be perfect 100% every single day, you know? So I think that that's also something that's important in relationships, is to recognize the humanity of the other person.
Yeah. I don't know what made this guy so easily dispensable to her.
I know. But again, that's what I'm saying. Like, it could be that the person themselves is just completely ungrateful, and you've been spoiled, and so you're expecting whatever, and like, you can't, you said it, you can't have your cake and eat it too. Like, if you want to be with this famous rock star and you like the lifestyle of being a lot of girls would love to go to Hollywood and get a bunch of money spent on them and get a bunch of time with their man. Like, there's a lot of people that would, you know, do a lot to get in that situation. She was in that situation, and she did away with it. Like,
yeah, but again, that tells me that she's used to.
It could be that
that kind of treatment, so it doesn't seem like a big glamorous thing to her.
Yeah, but
that's what I'm saying.
Yes, but at the same time, so for instance, like, your ex is never going to be in the situation that she was in before to have somebody that would take care of her to the degree that you were. It's just not going to happen. and like she didn't recognize that, and it wasn't because and that's just because she was getting a certain treatment when she was with you, but like it doesn't mean that there's a bunch of other guys that's going to treat her like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're saying, oh, there's a bunch of other guys. Well, maybe not. She might have just struck it lucky with this guy, and because she did, she believes that that's her reality, but it may not be.
Well, that's kind of the point of the song, is like, are you sure? Like, this is what you want to do with your time and whatever? Because it's not something you can get back. But there you go. What do you got? What do you got? This song, I'm sorry. I gotta give it another 10, man. I gotta give it a lot of 10.
I think I gotta give this one a 10 too, because I think the message is important, and I think that this is, damn, that's sad.
I mean, I think he got over it.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
this song, they must have made a lot of money on this song.
Yeah.
This song must have been a hit. I can just tell it had to have been a hit.
I thought that what did Revo say, that it made the number 6? Wait, don't quote me on that. 11. I mean, close to 6.
Number 11
on the US charts.
Yeah.
All right, so 10
10
for both of us.
This song was incredible. It's another 10. I don't know if this was like a classic song, but it'd be a classic song for me. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it hit number 11.
What's the name of the band?
The Steely Dan.
The Steely Dan?
It's just Steely Dan reeling in the years.
Okay, so Steely Dan. So let me know if this was like a classic song for them, Revo, or not. But definitely a 10 for me here, for sure. We will be back on the other side of commercial break, dear listener. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone. Moral of the story, marry a rich person. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 here and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them to buy our merch. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of 1973. 1.21 gigawatts jumping into the DeLorean at 88 miles an hour, and bang, we're in 1973. If you don't know the reference, I cannot help you. You cannot be helped. Every song in this stream, brought to you by the big man himself, DJ Revo, this is actually a hallucination. That's not really there, but that's a different story. Every song has been brought to you by DJ Revo, Type 22, to say congratulations and thanks to him. We have been covering apparently some classic songs from the 70s. This next band is called Eagles. Or The Eagles. I call the last band the Steely Dan. But it's really just Steely Dan. So all I'm seeing here is Eagles. So I'll just say, this next band is Eagles. The name of the song is Desperado. We will play Desperado as soon as my partner in crime, Soraya Mosey's in here. So I guess we can do a quick... ask me anything. So you can ask me one question Any question, I will answer it as honestly as I possibly can. But you better hurry up and ask the question before Soraya shows up, because if you wait, then I'm going to just go into the thing and not... Oh, she's here. Sorry, no questions.
So sorry. So sorry.
So sorry, so sorry.
I want to make sure that roast is done right.
Oh, wow, there's roast.
There's some roast.
That's a very traditional thing for you to do.
It is.
Just buy me a roast.
It is. I didn't buy you one, I made it.
You did? You slaughtered the animal and everything?
I did.
Did I show you that thing from Homeboy?
No. What?
Where he said if you eat a cow, you'll die?
No.
It's the bare truth that the cow is the mother of the world, brother. She gives all her milk and nurses us like her children. Only a demonic culture kills and eats their own mother. Civilized cultures respect the mother with awe and reverence. When the mother is insulted or harmed, there can be no peace on earth and no love for God can prosper. The only thing a cow killer gets for their transgression is a temporary full stomach followed by an increased risk for every major disease known to man. This is due to the displeasure of the Lord. The Lord cannot tolerate such offensive behavior to his cows. He is Gopala, the protector of the cow. So he arranges to diminish the lifespan of all who kill and eat cows. So let that be a lesson. All right, here we go.
You're a cow killer.
I'm also a cow consumer. Here we go. Eagles.
Desperado.
Okay.
This is the title track off the album Desperado, released by Asylum Records, which was recently, at this time, bought by Warner Records and would merge it soon with Elektra Records. It wasn't released as a single, but is still a favorite that is played on classic rock radio today and makes best songs lists. That was a message from DJ Revo, who is our DJ tonight, as you can see.
Yes, sirree, Robert. Yes, sirree, Robert.
Well, let's go. Let's do this thing.
All right, here we go. Eagles, Desperado. That's like isn't that like a Mexican cowboy almost?
I know that they used to have a cartoon that was called that, I think.
Got the lyrics? Sounds like the ice cream truck.
Oh my gosh, I think I've heard of this song before.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
John Lennon wrote Desperado.
Desperado.
Oh, yes.
Why don't you come to your senses?
Oh my God, I forgot.
You've been out riding fences for so long now.
You haven't got those lyrics.
Oh, you're a hard one. But I know that you got your reasons.
There.
These things that are pleasing you can hurt you somehow. Don't you draw the queen of diamonds, boy. She'll beat you if she's able. You know the queen of hearts is always your best bet. Now it seems to me some fine things have been laid upon your table, but you only want the ones that you can't get. Desperado. Oh, you ain't getting no younger. Your pain and your hunger, they're driving you home. And freedom, oh freedom, well that's just some people talking. Your prison is walking through this world all alone. Don't your feet get cold in the wintertime? The sky won't snow and the sun won't shine. It's hard to tell the nighttime from the day. You're losing all your highs and lows. Ain't it funny how the feeling goes away? Desperado. Why don't you come to your senses? Come down from your fences. Open the gate It may be raining, but there's a rainbow above you. You better let somebody love you. Let somebody love you. Better let somebody love you before it's too
That was Desperado by the band
Yep.
Eagles, or
I've
the
definitely
Eagles.
heard that one before.
You've heard that song before.
Yeah. Yep. I like that, like, sort of sad storytelling. Well, I mean, it's basically a precautionary tale, kind of. Well, he's kind of trying to warn him not to be a desperado.
Maybe he's talking about himself. Maybe they're talking about their, Desperado's like one of them
Like a
Western
Lone Rider,
outlaws.
right? Yeah.
He's like one of them Western like outlaws. Like
Yeah.
they're like them gangster shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. There was this movie called Desperado back in the day. It was like some big thing. I think Antonio Banderas was in it. And at the time,
Wait,
yeah,
is
he was
the guy
like
that played Zorro?
He was a big sex symbol. Yeah. It looks like you remembered there.
We all remembered that one.
Antonio
Yeah, we
Banderas,
were all
oh my
Zorro
God,
fans
Antonio
Antonio
Banderas.
I was always putting Z's in everything.
Yeah,
hopefully the
I
homie will
bet,
show up.
I bet. So yeah, it's just basically a gangster, like cowboy type dude. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like I think it's talking about them because like they kind of go into the village. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gang. Like
Yeah.
you're in a rock band. You get to live like the Desperado lifestyle a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think maybe he's talking like maybe it's an internal sort of critique of like the rock and roll
I would
lifestyle.
agree with that. I'd agree with that.
Come to your senses. You've been out riding fences for so long now. Oh, you're a hard one. I know you got your reasons.
Wait, we're...
These things that are pleasing you can hurt you somehow. Look, right there at the first verse.
Yeah,
Come to your senses. You've been riding it for so long now. You're a hard one, but I know you've got your reasons. These things that are pleasing you can hurt you somehow. So he's living a certain type of life that is kind of fast life, fast tracking, and he loves it. And it's an impractical way to live in the long term, I think.
Well, yeah. What does riding fences mean? Like you usually ride a horse.
Well, when your person's riding a fence, like they're halting between two opinions.
Oh, I thought
right?
he was all out. He was all in on the other.
You
thing.
say like, "Oh, I'm on the fence on
yeah,
this."
on the fence.
Because I think what it is, the first couple lines is basically the way that you're living is impractical and unsustainable, and you know it.
Yeah.
So he's got a consciousness, and that's our language. He's got a voice in his head that's telling him, hey, let's be practical here. You can't live like this forever. How about you grow up and be adult? But then there's another side of him is like, yeah, man, but this is a lot of fun, my guy.
Yeah.
So he's riding fences between those two voices in his mind, I think is what it is, the first two lines.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You're a hard one. I know that you've got your reasons. And there's always some sort of justification for why you're living a lifestyle that creates that cognitive dissonance. Right, like, so if you've got a split mind on a certain lifestyle that you're living, you're going to have to come up with some sort of way to justify to yourself why you're living that kind of life.
That's true because
So it says, I know you have your reasons.
That's true, yeah. Because if you have those two voices always fighting inside you, it's gonna that's a lot of like stress over time.
Hey, Tony the Lone Rider Smith in the house.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, you had Selma Hayek in that joint too. So there was a lot of like supposedly sex symbols. Selma Hayek was a little bit before my time.
I was gonna say, yeah.
But apparently
I thought
she was sexy too
as well. Yeah.
Oh, you thought she was?
Yeah. I thought that both of them that they tried to get like two hit people for that.
Yeah, they're both Latin, And
I thought the dance that was when I was like that. I really would love to be able to do that.
Yeah, I was too young. Like I really didn't see it. If they would have made,
I would have seen it.
If they would have made Selma Hayek like Asian, then I'd have probably saw her being
true.
sexy.
That's true.
I was just like, who? I was like, I don't know. My stepdad loved westerns. I didn't really love. I like westerns now though. Ever since I saw that
true.
Kevin Costner joint, this Kevin Costner, I saw this like 15 years ago. It's called Open Range.
Okay.
And there was one line in a song, and I know somebody who repeated that before they went off it. Like, so these bad guys were showing up at the saloon or whatnot, and like, you know, the Western, they were prepping to go to jihad or whatever. It was just Kevin Costner, and Kevin Costner is a dude from Yellowstone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he looked at Shorty. He's like, yeah, and like she was the good woman in the town and shit. He said, "People are gonna die, and I'm gonna kill them." I think he said that shit, bro. Then he went up and lit up all them bad guys. Sorry for the spoiler. I was like, yeah, go do that shit, nigga. Yeah,
so
kill him, nigga.
funny.
Get him. Oh man, I love Kevin Costner for that shit. That line was gangster as hell. How you gonna say some shit like that?
See, I've heard you say that line.
He told Shorty, lock the door. He's like, lock the door. He's like, yo, people are gonna die, and I'm gonna kill them. Yes! My fucking violent. I was like, yes!
So bad.
And I went through, I endured a lot of bullshit just so that I could say some shit like that.
Oh my gosh.
3 days without water.
Oh my word.
Shout out to Kevin Costner. He was
Wow,
on some
that's
gangsta
crazy.
shit.
Oh my gosh.
Kevin Costner was on some gangsta shit. I don't care what nobody says. Yeah, that whole Western like motif, like this kind of lawless motif.
Yeah.
Where you and your crew show up and them and their crew show. There was still some honor in it. You know, they do little 10 paces and the fastest gun in the West, and then there was some honor and structure. There was honor and structure to their gangsterism.
I was like, why would you do that? If you're the type of person that would kill somebody, wouldn't you be the type of person that would pull the trigger before it was time?
Yeah.
That's literally what I thought.
Next line is, don't you draw the Queen of Diamonds, boy. She'll beat you if she's able. You know the Queen of Hearts is always your best bet. So that to me says, don't chase the money.
Yep, that's exactly what I got too.
Go with your heart, which is,
I
again,
thought
is part
things.
of the whole lifestyle. Go ahead.
I thought money, and I also thought drugs. Because there are different times where drugs are called like diamonds or like...
Oh, yeah.
So he's saying, don't chase the money or the drugs. Go after love.
Yeah. That's a good line about the Queen of Diamonds, man, because there's a lot of things that there's a lot of places you can go with that.
Yep.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, the Queen of Hearts is always your best bet.
Yep.
Like, you know, that's kind of like the follow your heart.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I'm not really a fan of following your heart in every occasion, but if you're defining follow your heart as in choose love over money, then yes, I'm with it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I'm with it. See, here he goes. Don't trust your feels. See, okay. I would say don't trust your feelings only.
Yeah.
Okay. But there are a lot of times to trust your feelings. For example, like women's intuition. Like, there's no logical reason for you to feel nervous about this person, but if you've got women's intuition, hell yeah, you should trust your feels. Get the fuck out of there. I know a lot of times when girls had women's intuition, it was right.
Yeah, and they didn't listen, and it went bad, and there was times where we listened to it, and it went very well for us.
There's some things that it's not good to have empirical data for. There's some situations where, like, empirical data is a mistake. Like, I don't need this guy to prove that he's an actual assaulter before you get away from him. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of like saying we shouldn't follow your feelings at all. The problem is that our culture doesn't understand how to do anything with nuance. So everything is about extremes. So it's like it's either you follow your heart completely or you don't trust your feelings at all. Well, that's not the way it goes. Like God gave us feelings for a reason. Feelings are not a result of our sinful nature. So and here's the other thing, because the senator's a Christian, the mind has also been affected by our sinful nature. So this idea that our feelings should be eliminated and we should only go with our minds is unbiblical.
Right, exactly.
Because your mind has also been corrupted by your sinful nature. Your ability to reason has also been corrupted by your sinful nature. And that's one of the reasons why we have feelings. Sometimes your feelings can fill in that gap where your mind has a blind spot.
I mean, shoot, when it talks about God and it says, like, we love him because he first loved us. Like, that's a feeling. Like, love is a feeling. And so it's talking about God initiating stuff with us based off of a feeling. Like,
right. So I think you have to balance both of them. Is your feelings and your mind. She'll beat you if she's able. You know the Queen of Hearts is always your best bets. Now, it seems to me some fine things have been laid upon your table, but you only want the things you can't get.
Yikes.
So, that's the worst place a precaution, to be. But look at this, though. There's a precaution about the Queen of Hearts, which is where we're going to go with chasing money. And it says, and then he says, it seems to me some fine things have been laid upon your table. So it looks to me like this person actually chose the Queen of Diamonds because that's how you get all the fine things put on your table. Oh. See what I'm saying? So he says, don't chase the Queen of Diamonds. The Queen of Hearts is your best bet. But then it says, you've got some fine things laid upon your table. Mm-hmm. These are the things that money can buy. But you only want the ones you can't get. Because you didn't choose genuine love and you went with money, you've got all this finery at your table, but it doesn't satisfy you eternally because you cannot use capital to get love. You can't. Right. I was watching a very interesting back and forth on Twitter where this girl said, I think her name is like Deeply Unpopular Woman. It's her name on Twitter, which I thought was fascinating. So and she said, you cannot buy consent. So what she's talking about is sex work. So she's like an anti-sex work person. She's like, you cannot buy consent. You're basically taking advantage of a woman in a vulnerable situation because
that's a really
if it took capital for you to get the consent, then you don't have her actual consent.
Exactly.
Of course, people have a vested interest in saying that she's wrong there for obvious reasons. But I thought that was brilliant because just like people say you can't buy love.
Yep.
You cannot buy consent from a woman. And to me, like, that's the pinnacle, man. Like, that's why, you know, I kind of had the issues that I had. And that's why I also think that there's a porn issue in the world today. It's like a woman voluntarily, you know, and that's why, consent is such a low bar, but we're in such a rape culture that we have to appeal to the lowest common denominator. But to be in a situation where a woman willingly gives herself to you is like the pinnacle of what you're going to get as a man. Like, I've accomplished some really cool things in my life. Like some shit that I know, like literally like 7,999,000,000 people have not experienced. Mm-hmm. Like, I know for a fact that I've done shit but like, there's no feeling like that when you're in a relationship and a woman willingly gives herself to you. And it, you know, like, I cannot imagine having any sort of satisfaction in purchasing. But anyway, the point is when you have a lot of capital and you have a lot of money and you're an outlaw, you think you can buy anything and all the rest of it. And like I said, all that shit's at your table. Mm-hmm. But again, it's like we said in the previous song. You cannot buy that from a woman. That is not for sale. That's something that you have to do something personality wise and figure out that algorithm that is that woman's mind to get to that point where she's willingly going to give herself to you. That's not something you can buy. It's a complete category error to think that you could buy that. And so, but when you're rich and powerful, it seems that anything can be bought. Yeah,
you could buy company, but you can't buy loyalty. And the other thing that I've been thinking a lot about too is that a person is more than just their body. We're so complex that what?
I'd settle for buying help and housework from a woman, Vin. I wish she'd consent to helping me with the dishes. That is so perfect and such a deep discussion. Continue. People are gonna die and I'm gonna kill them. Go ahead.
Oh man.
You said I'd settle for helping. These people are funny tonight, bro. Go ahead.
Oh, boy.
Go ahead.
Oh, jeez. You go.
So he says, don't your feet get cold in the wintertime. The sky won't snow and the sun won't shine. It's hard to tell the night from the day. You're losing all your highs and lows. Ain't it funny how the feeling goes away? So he's coming up into a situation now where he, is all the trappings of his lifestyle are starting to lose their, I mean, there's a certain point where the drug is not going to be as effective. The alcohol is not going to be as effective. The women are not going to be as effective. Like, I remember when I was 14 years old, I was on a train one time and I was overhearing a conversation. This old dude was giving this younger dude some game and he basically said, listen, excuse my French, but he's like, yo, you'll get tired of pussy too. You will. And I remember just being 14 and be like, get the fuck out of here. Like, what is this dude? And, you know, I had just discovered, like, there's thousands of kids at my school. Like, I went from, New Jersey. At the time, we had a brief stint in New Jersey, Parsippany, New Jersey, which is a little suburb, to the fucking Bronx, and, like, thousands of kids. And the girls were just a different type of girls in New York were, like I said, 5 years older than they were. It was a very enlightening time. Yeah. So like, to hear that as a kid at 14, I was like, man, this guy's a fuck. Yeah. But it's true. Like, it's true. After a while, it's like especially if it's like some like unattainable girl and blah, and like boom, like you land a girl, like you're competing with drug dealers and all these other, and you landed this girl that everybody like, yeah, man, but there's this feeling of like, yo, that's it, like, what's going, and then like it sets you on this path to be like, oh, I need this one. Like, it's a crazy thing. And so like this guy is experiencing that. Like, don't your feet get cold in the wintertime? The sky won't snow and the sun won't shine. Like, here you go. You know, like that's a truism. And that's one of those things where it's like, a wise man learns from his mistake, but a smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from the mistakes of his brother. Like, these are all precautionary tales. Yep. And it's like I said, like I keep going back to this. There's like certain figures now that are being very influential to men. And it's like, yeah, but look at the life. Look at the emptiness and the hollowness and the shallowness of that lifestyle. Like, for the life of me, even like think, like, yes, he has all these material things and he has all these people around him, but it's based on his financial situation. And it's like, that to me, that's just such an empty life. Like, these people would abandon you. They would abandon you immediately if you ran out of money and you lost your social status. Right. Like, how can you... I don't understand how dudes could... And maybe I'm saying this because it's easy for me to say because I have a woman that's committed to me and I have a family and things like that. But I can't imagine being a single guy and being like, yep, I want to live a life where I have all this money and literally everybody's around me on the predicate that I have all this money and status. So that's a predicate for a person, entering into a friendship with me or a girl entering a relationship or my relationship with my children. It's about my social status and my capital. Yeah, I can't imagine looking at that and being like, yeah, that's what I want.
If you're the type of person that power and control is important to you, then if power and control is more important to you than vulnerability and love, then you would pick that. You would pick the money to keep the people around because you're in control of it. I
think that when dudes are young, that's what they think that they want. Mm-hmm. But as the song says, don't your feet get cold in the wintertime, the sky won't the sky won't snow and the sun won't shine. Like, I just think that, like, we think that that's what we want when we're young. And then you have those experiences and you realize, well, shit, I don't want to end up like Tom Brady alone on the beach. When I had an amazing woman who literally put her life on hold for almost a decade for me. Like, unbelievable. That's what I'm saying. Like, when I was thinking about Tom, when I was looking at this song, like, you're riding the fence and all this shit. Like, on the one hand, like, you're a family man, but on the other hand, you're putting this thing in front of her, and I don't care, like, how beautiful, how young, whatever girl Tom ends up with after, I don't care. Like, you cannot replace what that woman did. Mm-hmm. She was making more money than you. She sacrificed all that shit for you, which is supposedly in the manosphere that's the type of woman that, whatever, mm-hmm. and any man is gonna ride for a woman that does that. That's not what happened. Right. She put everything aside for him. Right. And in the manosphere, their attractiveness is up there. And so she's apparently very attractive. She's a supermodel, for God's sake. She put everything aside. She put everything aside for him for years, and he couldn't do that for her. And then you saw it was a complete crap. Like, I wish people would understand the lessons. There's lessons in all these celebrity meltdowns. Like, there's a lesson there, and it's like, now it's like, what do you have to show for it, bro? Because, like, as soon as Tom retired, Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. Patrick Mahomes is the new GOAT, and the NFL obviously worked to get him up there. Mm-hmm. And they've obviously moved on from Tom, and the NFL made a couple calls and things like that to get him to the Super Bowl, and made a couple calls to make sure that he won the Super Bowl. Yep. Like, there's a lesson there. So that's my thing. Like, this is what the song means to me. It's kind of like, you're going between two opinions. You know, some of it is fighting between past and the present. Some of it is also fighting between the inclination toward, you know, a shallow life versus really deep and meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
And you're straddling the fence on both of those. And part of the problem is when you're a rock star, you kind of are a desperado. There are certain social rules that you get to break. There's certain laws that you get to violate as a rich famous person, especially as a musician, that you get to do those things. Like, for example, having multiple women at the same time. Like, those are rules that you get to break as a rock star because those are the things that are expected of you. So you're kind of like a modern day desperado, and it's almost harder to turn your back on those things and say that's completely not significant. These relationships are significant. And so, and it's interesting too, because we've got friends in bands, and like that's kind of a subject that came up, like, and he was like, we don't even, I mean, he's like, you see, like, there's no girls backstage anymore. There's none of that anymore. Like, the dude that was talking to that guy across the table from us, he's like, yo, that's his girl. Like, it's not like it was like a girl fan that got like backstage. Mm-hmm. I mean, she was in the catering area. The fans were in the, I didn't know this, but the fans were back there. That was the family section. So he put us in the family section.
Aww.
But like, yeah, he's like, you didn't see any of that shit. Like none of us are on that shit anymore. Like, so like it's, if you get older as a rock star and you're like one of these generational bands, like they all see the emptiness of it.
Yeah.
They all see the emptiness of that life, and they all want a girl. They want like a wife now. Like, none of them want, you know, and we saw that when we were there. Like,
yeah.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Well, no, it was just crazy because you I don't know. That's true. Yeah, that was pretty sad when that was said over there.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
What I was saying was that the band, before, they were playing their music and they had the groupies and blah, blah, blah. And their fans were enjoying their music and falling in love to their music.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, it was bringing people together. And then they keep playing that music for years to come. But now the groupies, everybody's dropping off because now everybody's in relationships or they're doing something else. They're not trying to jump in the back with band members anymore at that age. So, yeah, like, you can see how it's completely changed. And they would want, like, by that age especially,
it's
a
good
significant
and we're off. You're gonna want
relationship.
something significant. You're gonna want, you know, somebody that you can trust, and somebody that's not with you for, you know, your status and your fame and all that. And you know, people that are I mean, as far as the whole Spaniard debate, I was wrong about that thing somehow, I'm sure. Like, you guys don't have to have a conflict about it.
What happened?
I said that Selma Hayek or whatever were Latinos, and then somebody corrected it and it created this entire jihad.
And what did they say she was?
But I think I used the term Latino incorrectly, because Selma Hayek, I think, is Mexican or something like that. So that's where the thing was. Like, I was the wrong one in this situation, guys. Yeah, like, I really liked the song. It was a really, really crazy. It was a really good song. I love the. This is a 9.8 for me. I'm really trying hard to, like. Damn it, Revo! But these songs they're all back to back, really, really, really good songs, man.
This one's a 10 for me.
Yeah, I can
just
see
the way that they were singing it, and I feel like that style has been used a lot.
Selma Hayek is Latina. Antonio is not. Antonio is a Spaniard. Selma Hayek is Latina. Okay, so I was wrong with that, guys. My bad. Okay, go ahead. So you gave it a 10?
I gave it a 10.
All right, I give it a 9.8. Son of a bitch. Okay, 9.8, guys.
More to come.
Stay exactly where you are. More to come. Let me give you guys a pre. Susie Quattro. Susie Quattro. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but you haven't. You're going to be introduced to her in the next freaking episode of Vin and Sorry. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Go. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSori. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them to buy our merch. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We are in the midst of 1973. Get in that DeLorean, 1.21 gigawatts at 88 miles an hour. We are back in time to 1973. That was literally 50 years ago. SubhanAllah.
How did you say this? Susie Quattro?
Susie Quattro. I guess she was the Fonz's girlfriend.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the Fonz from, what do you call it? Was it Happy Days?
I just remember there was a taxi, right?
Can the Can.
Can the Can is the name of the song. This is the second single by Susie Quattro, and your first reaction of her. She's actually an American from Michigan, but achieved fame in the UK as part of the glam rock scene. It is written by Mark Chapman and Nikki Chin. They wrote most of the sweet songs you've reacted to. It was a #1 hit in the UK and released by Rock Records, which had a distribution with EMI. All right, let's check it out.
All right, here we go. This
Can the Can.
Susie Quattro. Can the Can is the name of this song. Apparently, she was with the Fonz. Let's do this shit. Happy Days, yeah. No, don't do this to me. Yep, talk to the people. Talk to the people while this thing figures itself out.
All right, you guys, ask me anything. Pop your questions in there.
They never. You guys have to have your questions fired up just in case we have a technical issue.
Yeah, because you know we're going to. So, I'm back, Dwayne. I'm here.
There we go.
Andre, there is no fight, Vin. I thought Latino and Latin are the same thing, but I don't understand English that well, so my bad.
No bad. We're in good shape. Susie Quattro, dear listener. Okay, here we go.
What happened?
It was muted.
Oh.
This was really, really like... So we listened to Slade a couple days ago.
Yep.
And I said, that song is 10 years before its time. Mm-hmm. And then sure enough, it literally got covered by Quiet Riot literally 10 years later.
That's a pretty crazy moment.
Yeah, it was definitely, and this is also like the female lead with the punk rock, sort of aesthetic and the attitude. Mm-hmm. And also like in the middle, you could tell that she's got a voice. Like she was doing a conventional singing voice in the middle when they were doing the rising action, but for the vast majority of the song, she was kind of She wasn't.
I don't think she was in her range.
She wasn't. Well, she wasn't trying to. I think like that's kind of like part of the rebellion almost. That's what I'm saying. She's kind of like a. She's kind of like a proto.
Like that.
It's kind of like proto punk rock.
I like that. Yeah, it definitely seemed like something that would have been more the '80s than the '70s.
That's what I'm saying.
I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah, like in the like Joan Jett and the rest of them, like they kind of took up that mantle, but it looks like she was kind of like the originator of that shit.
Yeah, that's wild.
Like,
and that was live.
And I appreciate. Yeah, I appreciate.
Yeah, you're right. When she went to the halfway point, I was like, oh, she
sing. Vocally, she can get in there vocally. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
So this is going to be an interesting song to dissect. Can to can. I have no idea what that means. Apparently, can is a British term for something. I don't know what it is. So that's going to be interesting to see. But let's look here. Let's see what we got. Okay. Well, you call your mama Tiger, and we all know we call your mama Tiger, and we all know you are lying. And your boyfriend's name is Eagle, and he lives up in the sky. Watch the other tiger.
Hi.
Watch out that the tiger don't go claw the eagle's eye, but let the eagle take the tiger by the surprise, scratch out her eyes.
Oh my god.
All right. What do you think that means?
Well, I think that they're warning her that there's this guy that's interested. When it said hi, I don't know if that has any drug references there. So it sounds like she doesn't think that the guy whose name is Eagle, or at least in this story his name is Eagle, is going to be good for the tiger.
Ah, okay. So,
but I think it's the battle. Watch out, the tiger don't claw the eagle's eye. Like, who's gonna hurt who? Is she gonna hurt him or is he gonna hurt her?
Sadie's saying it means if your dude is running around and he's not worth it, let her have him. I think that's probably a good premise for this song. I think she's probably right. So let's see. So you call your mama Tiger. Now, is that really your mother or is that your? And he says, and your boyfriend's name is Eagle. So this is a girl. And she's saying that her mother is a tiger. Mm-hmm.
Which would make her a tiger.
Tiger is a ferocious animal, right? And so then the boyfriend is an eagle. He's high up in the sky. High. So I don't know. Does that mean like that's a code word for your boyfriend's a pothead?
That's what I thought. He was just like, he's not a good...
He's not a good dude.
They don't want to come right out and say it, but like, there's reasons why...
She's using the animal metaphor. Okay, so then she says, watch out the tiger don't claw out the eagle's eye, but let the eagle take the tiger by surprise, scratch out her eyes. So the boyfriend and the mom are not getting along. They're in a sort of adversarial relationship where the mom wants to claw out his eyes and he wants to scratch him out.
See, I took it as, because since she calls her mama Tiger, that would make her a tiger. So when it says, watch out the tiger don't claw the eagle's eye, like the daughter and the eagle are in a like kind of a relationship.
Oh yeah.
And who's gonna hurt? But let the eagle take the tiger by surprise. Like it's saying, watch out that the tiger doesn't claw the eagle's eye. So watch out that the girl doesn't end up hurting the guy. But let the eagle but let him end up hurting her. Well, it says let him take her by surprise, and then it says scratch out her eyes. So to me, I thought it was like in relationships, like some people have this view that, look, somebody's going to hurt somebody and I don't want to be the one that's hurt, so I'm going to make sure I hurt you first. So I didn't know if it was like this sort of like a battle of somebody's going to hurt somebody. Who's it going to be?
It makes sense to a degree, although the next line is make a stand for your man.
For your man, honey. Yeah, then it would go back to the mom.
I'm saying, it looks like somebody is attacking.
Try to can.
When asked what can to can means, Nikki Chin replied, it means something that is pretty impossible. You can't get one can inside of another if they're the same size. So that's some interesting intel. That's true. You can't put a can in a can if they're equal.
Right.
You know,
Right.
which makes sense between the mom and the boyfriend, like the triangle, because those two are like they can't mix with each other. There's gonna be a conflict. So make a stand for your man, honey. Try to can the can. Put your man in the can, honey. Get him while you can. Can the can if you can. Well, can the can. So we're saying you can't put your man in the can if he's out there and not willing to commit. The phrase sounded good, and we didn't mind if the public didn't get the meaning of it, which Sadie did get the meaning of it immediately. So shout out to Sadie. Holy shit.
Wow.
That's some gangster shit. But when it says your mom, so I'm still not seeing how this works with your mama, though. I understand, like, if it's a love triangle, that makes sense. But maybe she's saying in the first verse, it's impossible. Like the battle between your mom and the boyfriend is never going to work out. You're going to stand up for your boyfriend against your mom. I think maybe that's a bad play. Maybe they're discouraging that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, your sister's got the feline touch. She touches up your mind, and your eagle lover likes his little bit of evil loving all the time. Don't let the cat get into the eagle's nest at night, because the eagle could say yes without a fight. Okay, so that right there is his sister. She's got an attractive sister, apparently, and he would be completely fine with a little rendezvous with your sister. See what I'm saying?
Oh.
Your sister's got the feline touch.
Yeah, but it says she touches up your mind, so I thought it was that the sister helped her to get a little bit more in the situation where she would be wanting to do something with the eagle.
Aha! I knew it. Mama was a slang term. I knew it. Remember I said is mama a code word for something else? So is mama is what? Like just another girl? Okay, so it looks like this is a dude who's got a wandering eye and likes to mix it up with multiple females simultaneously. And apparently, like, in family. So sister could be your actual family, or sister could be your female friend, right? That you love like a sister. And your evil lover likes his little bit of evil loving all the time. See, that's the thing again. I'm like, this guy might be an eagle in the sense that he just might be a pothead, or he might be somebody that is above her, that she thinks she's lucky just to have. Because there are those weird relationship dynamics where the guy is like 2 or 3 stations above her, whether financially or looks wise. It happens a lot of times looks wise. Like we're watching a show right now where it appears that I don't think there's much of a mismatch, but it's clear that the girl thinks there is a mismatch where she, if there's that kind of imbalance, especially on the female side, it looks like they're willing to accept a lot more bullshit versus like somebody like you who like you're used to being treated a certain way in relationships. No? Yes?
Oh, I think you're probably right.
So it looks like this guy's got a wandering eye, and it doesn't matter if the person's close to her or not, whether it's a family member or just like one of her day one friends. Like this dude is like running around with her, and then so now this line makes a lot of sense. Make a stand for your man, try to can the can. It's like to try to make a guy who has that wandering. If the guy is the type of person that's gonna have sex with your closest friends, and really, especially with girls, I don't really see much of a difference between when I see girls that are like have really, really, really close girls that are friends. I don't really see a difference between that and an actual sister, the way that they interact, like for better or for worse. So if you've got somebody that's like willing to have sex with your sister, and obviously you should also say, well, what kind of friend is that would be willing to do that to you? Sure. But the subject matter of the song is the relationship with the dude. Like, why would you accept something like that? And it's really a sarcastic sort of thing. Like, yeah, go ahead. If he's the type of person that would sleep with your best, closest friend, go ahead and try to put like restrictions around it. Like that's what's happening now too in that show we're watching, where like this dude is clearly attracted to this other girl, and then the other girl is telling her like, hey, go after that, shut that down, don't let him talk to that girl. It's like, I'm like, why would you do that? Like if you need to shut that down, just break up with him. That's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, did we have that conversation, or do you not agree with that, or do you think that there's? For me, like, yeah, I think if a dude does that, like, I don't think the woman should ever have to go in there and break something up to like stake her claim. I just don't think that's ever going to work in her favor.
Yeah,
I could see a dude doing that and that happening because dudes are more like we're confrontational and we're a lot more aggressive.
Yeah.
But like if a woman does that, like if a woman has to do that, like to stake her claim and like break up a conversation midstream, like that's not gonna go well for you, shorty. Like
if she stays with the guy.
Yeah, that's not gonna go good.
Well, the only reason why I'm like, well, maybe not is just because like, you know how in the past when they had those relationships, you'd see that like it was almost like people, I mean, they were single up until they got there and it's been a week and now all of a sudden they're engaged to somebody. Like your mind has to catch up to the information.
I agree.
And so like, you know, some of them ended up in conversations with people and they were still being like flirty and flirtatious, but it's like, you know, you're expecting people to be like super serious about this, but you're just jumping into a marriage. Like it's a marriage. That's like a big deal. And this is happening on the fly. And so it kind of like changes like the seriousness that you put into the thing. So I mean, I think that if, you know, if 6 months down the road you still feel like you have to break up a conversation between him and somebody else, then yeah, that's a problem. But like in that, like it was the next day, like I just think maybe in a situation like that, like if, I don't know, because he was staying to talk to that girl because he was interested in her. So I guess, you know,
I just think dudes are.
Yeah,
I think we're just a lot more definitive about what we want. Whereas, you know, we're gonna get killed for this, but I just think that emotionally speaking, girls take a little bit more time. They get torn between, you know, what about this, what about that, and it's unclear. Whereas dudes, like we generally, especially if you're talking about something like marriage, like we generally know where we're at with that girl. And like if a dude really like if a dude is really committed to a girl, like he really not even like mega committed like marriage, but like if he sees a real future, we know when we're being flirted with, like he's not going to cross that line. He's going to shut that conversation down. I know that you think that that's just me, but
say that again.
If a dude is if I know you're my girl and I see a future with you, I'm not even talking about marriage. If I see myself with you in a year, I know when there's a girl that's attracted to me and is trying to flirt and all the rest of it. And if I have that in my crosshairs, I'm gonna shut that down. Like if you need to come tell me to shut it down, that means that I haven't picked you and I'm probably not going to. Whereas females are a little bit different. Like females are generally conflicted sometimes. It's like, what about this guy? What about that? What I'm saying is we're not like that. If we genuinely see like, oh, I see myself with this girl, at least in a year, like we're not going to go with that flirtatious thing, especially if our girl is in the vicinity. We're not doing it. Like I've seen girls get shut down so many times with my folks because of that. So I just think it's a little bit different. My thing is with females, like if you have to go and tell the dude, like remind the dude that you're his number one or whatever, then you're not his number one. Like, sorry, like it's just not gonna happen. So, you know, that's kind of where I'm at with it. That's why I'm thinking she's saying the same thing. Like, yeah, go ahead, stand. If you have to make that kind of stand for your man, she's basically saying you've already lost him. But this is a situation like a lot of, you know, unfortunately females find themselves in the modern era, you know, the whole hookup culture and all this. And it's like these, again, it's sort of this modernist idea that, for example, like sexuality, they're like people are trying to portray that women and men handle sexuality the same way. It's just not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
Men and women interpret sexuality differently. And so you have women are now in this like really weird gray area where they're supposed to manage their sexuality like men, but if they do manage their sexuality like men, they're a hoe. But then if they handle their sexuality like traditionally women would, then they're clingy and they're not modern and they have, you know, it's just I would never want to be a female in the it's just so impossible.
Yeah.
So all I'm saying for me is that in my experience as men, like we definitively know if we're gonna wife the girl, that's what we used to call them. You know, wifing a girl meant that like that was your actual girl. You were not going around just to whatever. You know, like this girl was in a separate category. So like, you know, we'd be on the train and be like, oh, is that wifey son? And be like, hell no, nigga, come on, bruh. But then when I actually did, you know, I was like, yeah, And like that meant she was off limits, and that meant she was my girl or whatever, and that meant that you have everybody in high school, you know, you have a cadre of girls that flirt with you and walk down the halls or whatever. That got shut down. Every single time I saw somebody wife somebody, high school, outside of high school, like that, they shut down all the other shit. So it's just, you know, like Biggie said, I kick flows for you, kick down doors for you, even left all my motherfucking hoes for you. You know, like that's how we are. So for me, if you have to stand up for your man that way, it's over. or at least it means that he is you are far. He doesn't even see himself with you in a year. That's what that means. That's just what it looks like to me. Yeah, Myron confirms, like, shut it down way before. Yeah, we would have shut it down well before that. You know what I'm saying? So, wow. I'm flirtatious by nature, but never am I weighing options. I'm someone that's it. No need for a guy to call caveman on me for not being nice to another. I'm not being... Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just different. Like, exactly. With females, they also worry about being nice to people. Like, I don't want to hurt the guy's feelings. There's just a different... Like, if a dude is... And the other thing is, women, especially if you're a beautiful woman, women get flirted with all the time, every day. So the standards are just different. Like, if I see somebody flirting with you and you don't automatically shut it down, I'm going to assume that's because you don't want to be rude. You don't want to hurt the person's feelings. I'm not, like there's just a wider berth if I see a dude talking to you. And sometimes I would have to come in to get you out of an uncomfortable situation. Like, I've done it with my girls that are friends. I would come in and act like I was, whatever. It's just different. Like, whereas with a girl, like, you're not going to come rescue me from an awkward, like, flirtatious conversation. I'm just gonna shut her down. Like, I'm just gonna be like, nah, I'm good. Like, my wife, like, that's happened sometimes. People send me crazy DMs and shit. I'm like, yeah, I'll tell my wife about that, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dynamics are just different. So all I'm saying is, like, there are situations where a dude, in my experience anyway, could go in and break up a conversation or whatever, and that woman would still be 100% committed to him.
All right.
Whereas I don't need you to come and help me from an awkward situation with a woman. Like, a woman's not going to flip out and shoot me, or I'm not afraid of a woman, like, going crazy on me if I reject her advances. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for you to have to come in and break up that conversation, something else is happening, is what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're in a situation where the dude is constantly in these discussions, and you have to constantly swoop in there, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
Yeah. I agree.
So,
I agree.
Yeah. I don't care at all about body count. It's impossible that the girl will have a smaller body count than mine. Yeah. I agree. I had the same philosophy. Wife her means other girls don't be texting me. Yeah, man. That's where every dude I know, no matter how hard they are, no matter how whatever you want to call them, like, every dude I know, if they see themselves with that girl for in the next year, they will shut that shit down. They'll do that. So if the guy's not doing that, girls, I'm not gonna tell you it's over, but it's over. 9.2. Go ahead.
8.8.
8.8. All right. Here we go. I once sent Vin all kinds of my photos. He said, "This your grandma?" That's a fucking lie. You sent me a photo with your mom. And it was your mom. Was it you? No disrespect to Amy's mom, by the way. You're an awesome grandma. That's not, I mean, you're an awesome... All right. Hey, we've got another song on the way. It's the Marshall Tucker Band's on the way. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone. Let's get out of this video. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itstory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is a community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sori and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
So buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener.
All right, you guys.
We are in the midst.
1973 Part 2, DJ Revo up. And the next band on the list is Marshall Tucker Band.
Marshall Tucker Band, 1973.
This is the debut song by Southern rock outfit Marshall Tucker Band. You may remember this genre was started by the Allman Brothers. Leonard Skinner debuted...
Wait. What's the genre? Southern rock? Yeah, Southern rock album. Okay. Yes, I do remember that, Revo. We continue.
Leonard Skinner debuts later this year. This song was released by Capricorn Records, which was also Allman Brothers record company. It reached 97 on the U.S. charts. 75 on the U.S. charts. All right, let's check it out. The Marshall.
All right, here we go. Let me pull up these lyrics here. Yeah, lyrics for the song is called Can't You See, Can't You See? All right, guys, Can't You See is the name of the song. Marshall Tucker is the name of the band. Let's do this shizzle, whizzle. Talk to the people again. This thing is like catching up.
Why does it keep happening? All right, you guys, another Ask Me Anything.
Yeah, you guys...
actually, kind of looks like my comment section is like way freaking behind.
You should refresh it.
Because I can see that the video is still moving, but the comment section is stuck. Yeah, you guys, ask me anything. Pop a question in there, and we'll see.
This is not the last song of the night. This is not the last song of the night.
It's not there, so I'll have to look on yours.
Here we go. Okay, I got it. Marshall Tucker Band. Here we go.
Jump off, ain't nobody gonna know. never told me goodbye. Can't you see? Oh, can't you see? What that woman was Savannah doing to me? Can't you see? Can't you see? What that woman was Savannah doing to me? As far as I can, I ain't never coming back. I'm gonna take her that southbound, ride it all the way to Georgia, love, till the train they run out of track. Can't you see? Oh, can't you see? What's that woman? Oh, spend on me. Can't you see? Can't you see? What's that woman? Oh, spend on me. Play the blues. Play the blues. Woo! Can't you see? Oh Lord, can't you see? What that woman, oh, spend on me. Let's clap along now, come on. Can't you see? Play some racket. Can't you see? Sounding good. What that woman, oh, spend on me. Yeah, all right. Can't you see? Oh Lord, she's such a crazy kind of lady.
Yo, okay. This song and the entire this song makes me. This has nothing to do with the song. It just makes me very proud to be an American, man. Like, because it's a distinctly American genre.
Yeah.
Like, this is something you know, and it's crazy. Like, only Americans can do this kind of genre.
That you always say that.
No, like, you cannot do Southern rock as a British band. Like, that's not gonna work. It's just not gonna happen. You could do speed metal as a British band for sure. You could do death metal. You definitely could do black metal as a Europe. You cannot do this kind of music as anything other than an American band. I am sorry. It would not work. So I'm proud that it just makes me proud to be an American, man. It's like, damn, okay, like, this is American culture. We create some shit. You know, I remember the first time we covered a Southern rock song. It was, pretty sure it was Skinner, and it had the Confederate flag in the background. Mm-hmm. I was like, man, fuck the Confederate flag, but that solo was crazy. It was like, I think it was like, I forgot, but it was like a 7-minute solo or some shit. And, you know, there's a big, Confederate flag, blah, blah, blah. People defend the Confederate flag. But, like, so I have, like, a disposition to not like Southern rock. But then I'm like, yo, I've never heard a Southern rock song on this channel that hasn't been, like, exceptionally good. The soul in this guy's voice, like, the where he was going. And that was live, by the way. That wasn't, I didn't know, I didn't know that. Live? Yeah, because remember when he said, hear the clapping, make some racket, blah, blah, blah. That's what I'm saying. What? That was live in 1973. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, oh my gosh. Like, the talent level was just so much. Like, I don't want to diss new music because that's so ridiculous. And obviously, we're products of new music. We're products of new music. But
wow, that's crazy.
And it just seemed like everybody had, like, their thing. Like, this, like, the girl that we listened to, like, just before, like, she was bringing some new energy, like a punk rock aesthetic before, like, the punk rockers did. And she had her own, and, like, we knew she could sing, but she purposely did not sing well in that, in the verse line. Like, everybody had their own little thing. It wasn't like this cookie cutter thing where we have the same band being repeated a million times. You know, it's just one of those things where it's like, I don't know. I guess that kind of music cannot last very long in a capitalist environment, just because every record label is just trying to make money. And so if I see an act that's making all this money, then I'm going to try to replicate that. I'm not going to try to like find somebody with a unique voice or, you know, different vocal style or whatever.
Right.
Like, but these styles are so variegated. They all made the top 100 at one point or another, I think. But the styles are so different. And sometimes it's like, sometimes the styles are like before their time. Like we've seen a couple before your time songs. And then there's like, whoa, this was a blast in the past. Like the first song that we listened to. Like, damn, like the variegation of talent and the palette of the, see, that's the other side of it is like, I know what the record label would say. The record label would say, yeah, well, the difference is the fans in the 70s had a wider palette. So you could trust that you could sign some guy that had some special little gimmick, and you could trust that he was going to find an audience because they had a wider palette. You know, they were listening to the whole Leroy Brown song, which could have been from the 50s, but they were also listening to the Slade song, which was 10 years early.
Right.
You know, so it's like, if you're the record label, you're going to say, hey, it's the audience that got progressively dumber and spoiled and wanted, you know, these cookie cutter songs that sound exactly like this, because that's what you guys were patronizing. And so the debate goes back and forth, but
yeah,
man, it just, the style is just so crazy to me. Like how, and you know, Amy was right. Like, not Amy, Michelle, when she said, this is kind of like barbecue, good friends, summer, throwing football in the backyard.
For sure, yeah.
This is blasting. Everybody's chilling, like having a decent
there's like
time.
a big slab of meat on the grill there.
Yeah. Sorry, Adi, but big slice of dead cow. Sorry, bro. Yeah, man. Like but again, like
said pig, but you didn't.
That's Americana.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's like that's Americana right there. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it just makes you. There is something. There's a lot of shit in this country, man, but there's something fucking whimsical about that kind of America, man. Like that simple American life and because you know there was some jazz undertones here, and like that vocal style was, you know, that it's unbelievable song, song.
Yeah, this one was definitely right up there on the top. I really liked this one, and I agree with you, like with the sort of summertime American feel, like a 4th of July sort of feeling.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that as well.
Yeah, it's just, I wish everybody in the world could feel that, like, slice of America.
Like, I always had, like, those feelings, but then when you, like, I didn't realize that racism was a thing currently. And so, like, coming into that, like, then you look at those time periods and you think about what other things were going on those time periods, so it kind of, like, it makes it hard for me to fully enjoy that. Like, because, like, when I see you enjoying it, I'm like, wait, what? That's weird. But at the same time, you know, I think, I don't know. It would be nice to be able to enjoy it without, you know, I guess at any time, you could do that with any time period. There's, like, well,
I mean, we're not living in a just time period now.
Yeah.
In America. So, like, yeah, I mean, that's always part of it, but for me, it's like, yeah, you know, there's always going to be something bad because human nature is fallen. But you can't let that blind you to the parts of human nature where the image of God is being reflected.
Right.
And I just think, like, the place that kind of music takes you to, and the scenery and the smell and the hey, we're all together and it's this casual thing. This guy's cooking over here. You got two teenagers talking over here, kind of figuring each other out. You got, you know,
like the sounds, they're all natural. Like they're like, you know, nobody's playing.
It's kids running around. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's not a bunch of phones. There's not a bunch of. It's just everybody. It's just people.
Yeah, everybody's chilling. Football games are happening.
Yeah, like basic games for the kids. Like, You know, I know it definitely seems like a cool time period.
Uncle Johnny took a little bit too much of a beer, so now people like taking the beer from him and like like getting him to sit down and chill out. I don't know, like I don't know, man. Like it's like moments like that, dude. That like, and I'm sure like our European friends have like these cultural, moments where they're like, damn, I wish our American friends could feel this. Like it's absolutely there for sure. But like, yeah, man, like. It's such, and he's talking about like the girl, he's got a bad time with the girl. He's gonna leave the country, or he's gonna leave, he's gonna take a train to Georgia. He's just gonna drive far. Actually, had to do he was he joined the team. He joined the SEAL teams because a girl broke up with him. And so that series of events led him to So he did some pretty incredible shit in the world, but it all started because a girl broke his heart, so he just jumped on a train and then joined the Navy, and ended up on the team. It's crazy shit.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's just really, really good music. Really, really good music, and like it brings you to a simplicity. It brings you to simplicity. Like we had a summer like that in our apartment complex where. The kids were back playing football, and your girl was on, their girl was on. We're doing some backyard football, That
was so fun.
Yeah, Dorian was losing his mind. I think we got a couple of videos. Do we have a video of that? Anyway, this is a 9.8 for me. I'm trying like mad to be really, really clinical about these scores, but they're just...
a 9.9?
They're just... I don't know if Revo just decided I'm going to just do classics after classics after classics today. But yeah, this got to be at least a 9.8. What did you give it?
This is a 10. It's a 10. I don't know that it could be improved
Holy
upon.
shit. 70s rock concerts for $5.
Wow.
I mean, I can imagine, man. Like that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Can you imagine like a bill that had like 3 or 4 of these bands on it? Like
that'd be crazy.
It's almost like the music was like too good for you to even be able to absorb like what would be happening if if Leonard Skinner, these guys, what is it, the Allman Brothers, like if all these people were like on one bill, like I'm not sure if those people that got to go to that show understood what the hell was actually happening. I doubt it. Like again, I don't want to diss modern music because you're still a badass if you've made it in the music industry regardless. I'm just saying like I don't even know if those people understood. Mm-hmm. Like cause like when I went to a new metal show, like honestly, like I knew like 98% of these bands, bro, like they're gonna be completely anonymous in 2 years. Like I knew, like I didn't know much about music. I just knew it, and like there haven't been many bands that have survived that era. Korn, Slipknot, Linkin Park, Mudvayne. That's pretty, and none of those bands are really active aside from Korn and Slipknot. Like putting out consistent music and touring consistently, like and. Like, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Those people just had it made. They just had it made back then, I think. Have you ever reviewed Stephen Miller Band? I am not sure. This is a 9.8. What did you give it?
I gave it a 10.
You gave it a 10?
Yep.
All right, dear listener, we got one.
Zeppelin.
Revo, this is probably like probably like the hardest list I've ever seen Revo come up with right now, man. It's just banger after banger, and these are like classic.
You're putting him in a situation because you don't want to give too many 10s.
Yeah, I would really steeled my resolve, especially considering we have such a body of work with Revo stuff. But I don't know, man. This night has been pretty crazy. Mm-hmm. It kind of makes you go, damn, like. I really, really wish that we would have been able to like wear some 70s gear, like to really like when we did the Tool thing.
Yeah.
Like the whole aesthetic was crazy. Like I wish we had that again.
I had so much less to think about because we didn't have any babies.
Yeah, we didn't have.
And we didn't have any other businesses. Like, well, I mean, you were working your job, but it gave me plenty of time to do some thinking.
Yeah, I was doing the corporate America shit.
Yep.
Okay, guys, we will be right back. We got more music coming your way. I think you've heard of this band called like Feds Zepplin. Zepplin, something like that. We'll check it out on the other side. Vin out.
Sorry, out.
Gone. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull
You
that off.
can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village. Facebook.com/Vin and Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed. A child shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. Yes, dear listener. We
Led Zepplin.
1.21 gigawatts. In a car, 88 miles an hour, boom! It's 1973, bitches. Not 2023. This is 1973. That's where we've been.
2.
Of course, we know that space-time doesn't actually exist.
True.
But we'll just go along with the pretense. Go ahead.
DJ Revo has picked the Led Zeppelin Over the Hills and Far Away as our final closing song for the stream. And what he has to say is this is their lead single off of their Houses of the Holy album released by Atlantic Records. It was a number 51 hit in the U.S. and will be our last one tonight. Take care.
Yeah. Over the Hills and Far Away is the name of the song. The name of the band is Led Zeppelin. You might have heard of them before. Yes, I do love Back to the Future. That's a shout out to my little bro because he's a Back to the Future fan. Let's do this shit! Okay.
Hey lady, you got the love I need. Maybe more than enough. Oh, darling, 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 walk a while with me. Oh, you got so much, so much, so much.
Jimmy Page, one of my least favorite guitar players. Just don't like his style. How is that possible? Oh, hold on. There's still more. Is that mine? All right. What did you think the song was about? I have a vague idea.
I thought at first he was talking to somebody that he wanted to be in a relationship with. Hey, lady, you got the love I need. Maybe more than enough. Oh, darling, darling, walk a while with me. Oh, you've got so much. But then he goes on to saying, like, talking about his life. And then he talks about a man knowing what's been missing. So he does talk about the open road, which he's a rock star, so he would get to see the open road where other men would not get to. Maybe it's just like a discussion, like, you know, like those, how people will like write a letter to themselves or whatever. Like maybe it's like something, maybe it's like one of those. I don't know.
Darling, 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 walk a mile with me.
See, doesn't it sound like he's going to drop some knowledge on her?
You've got so much. Well, he's saying you've got so much.
Yeah, but I thought that was because he talked about you got
so
the
much
love I need,
right? So
more than enough.
She's got the love that he needs. I wonder what that means when people say that you have the love. So that means that she is capable of loving him in such a way that he receives, that it's his language, that it fits him. Like we had this conversation where I was saying that I feel it's like if somebody gives you something, you know, as a gift in your relationship and it doesn't resonate, like I'm being intentionally vague, but the instinct is to say that the person who's it's not resonating with is being ungrateful. Mm-hmm. But it's like, well, the point of a gift, it's supposed to be some sort of manifestation of your love to that person, and love should always be other oriented. So if the person doesn't receive your gift and your intention was pure, then you're not going to be like, oh, they rejected my gift. You're going to say, well, that's not the way that she wants to be loved then. Mm-hmm. So I have to find something else to gift her where she does experience that as love. So, you know, we're having a conversation about, you know, whatever, but, you know, that's kind of my perspective on it is like, if I give you something and it doesn't create the sort of response I want, it's childish of me to act, oh, you know, this person's ungrateful for my gift and blah, I try to show her love. Because a lot of times it's like those expressions of love are like expressions of self-love because you want the person to react to you in a certain way. Mm-hmm. And it's not really about loving that person the way they experience love. Mm-hmm. And obviously, you know, it takes a while for a person to mature. Mm-hmm. to have that understanding, but I do think that's the correct understanding is how those things are supposed to relate.
I think sometimes it's timing too, like I think that like for myself, like there would be certain things that are like, okay, this is the most important thing, like this has to happen, like right. and I don't think that this is the right way to execute a relationship, because I think that you need to be able to look at the relationship as a whole. But I think in my immaturity at times I have looked at like, okay, so this is the next event that has to happen to tell me that we're on the right track here. Uh-huh. And so when stuff is out of order, it's like it doesn't get received in the way that it would if it wasn't being ordered like that. Like it's almost like there's like a dead stare waiting for like, okay, this thing has to happen to prove some, you know, like some people they're gonna watch Beauty and the Beast, their entire childhood, that's their favorite one, and then when they get older, they find themselves in a situation where there's this abusive guy and they want to really, you know, win him over, or you know what I'm saying. Like I think that people get certain things, like especially in a culture that's like romanticism is a thing, like people can have different things in their head that they're like, okay, this is what has to happen in this relationship to mean that we're at a certain place, and you can miss things. you can miss actually really important things because
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
you're too busy thinking that something else has to happen to prove something instead of just being. And I don't think that that's a good way to execute. And like I said, in my immaturity, that is how I have executed things at some points. But like getting to the point where you're like, okay, yeah, I think that we should express love to the person in the way that they can best receive it. And I think at the same time, like, we also should be the type of people that try to like look at, okay, what is the person doing, even though you don't receive love in that way necessarily, but to understand that person is trying to express love to you.
Yeah. I would just change the term receive to experience, because like in every relationship, you know,
You don't want it to be like
if
water
you're in
off a duck's
goodwill,
back.
obviously the person's going to receive it. My issue is, if I'm giving you the gift, I know you're going to receive it, but the issue is, are you experiencing that as love your way? That's the issue for me.
Yeah.
It's like, because I know you're going to experience, because you love me, and obviously if I go out the effort, you're gonna receive anything, you know, obviously. But the question is, if I'm giving you this out of expression of love to you, then the only goal that I have should be that you experience that moment as being loved. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? And that's even different than just receiving it. That's also like, that's great, but I want you to experience it. That's the entire point of the gift.
True, yeah.
So if you receive something but you don't experience that as love, then that's good news to me, because that checks one thing off the list, and I go, okay, now I've come closer to understanding how this person experiences love, and that gives me a lot of intel about a whole bunch of other things. So if I'm other oriented, which in my view is what love should be, that's how I'm going to take that response about, you know, the gift not resonating. Because I'm going to take that as, this is great, so now I know something about her, and that's going to open up a whole other set of questions. So now I've got a lot of work to do, and this is great. If you're other-oriented, that's good news. But if you're self-oriented, then you're going to be upset, and your ego is going to get involved. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put in all this work for this gift, and you're not receiving it well, blah, 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 blah. So that's why, like, when I was looking at it, I was like, damn, like, that's a deep line. Like, you have the love I need. That is to say, everybody has the capacity for love, but the way that this woman's love is expressed is hitting him at the experiential level a lot of times. And that's like, to me, that's one of those indicators when people talk about falling in love and romanticism and things like that. It's like, for me, it's like, I think when people say they're falling in love, what they're saying is, your expressions of affection hit right on the bullseye of how I experience love personally. Because everybody experiences love in a nuanced, differential kind of way. I mean, there are some sort of broad things, like between men and women, and then between certain, and so there's things that are broad, but like when you really like get down to the quantum level of a person, it becomes that individuality. And so when a person's saying, I'm falling in love with you, what they're saying is, my experience with you is such that I am experiencing love from you in my language and in my way, in the physical and the metaphysical aspects of it. That's what people mean when they're saying that. So he's saying, if you find somebody that does that for you in all these different categories, it's that you should just, you know what I'm saying? That's why, to me, like, we talk about like being on those shows and shit, and, you know, like finding your mate or whatever. And I say, like, I would take you off the show like immediately after day one, because it doesn't. I'm pretty. It's very hard for me to experience that with people, especially with women. Like, it's very hard for that aspect to like my being, to where like I'm interfacing with a female and like, oh, I feel loved. Like, that almost never happens to me in my life. So that's why, to me, with you, it's like so obvious. See what I'm saying? Because I know what that is. You see what I'm saying? Like, I know what sexual attraction is. I know what this is. I know what that is. But like that aspect of like, boom, like I'm experiencing love in the moment with this person. Like, I almost never have that with females, regardless of whether I was dating them, married to them, unfortunately, whatever. So that's why, to me, like, it's so easy. Like, I would, like, in one day, like, that would be it. You see what I'm saying with me and you? Whereas, you know, you're not as closed off like that, so it takes a little bit more. It would take a little more time, I think. See what I'm saying? Because you're not as You're not an emotional trapdoor as I am. You know, like I have buttons. You know, like I think it would probably like, you know, we were kind of talking about this yesterday. Like literally, there's a button with a person, and like I imagine it being pushed, and the trapdoor goes down, and that's it. I never talked to him again. Whereas with you,
You see that visually, like in your mind?
Yeah, I don't talk about stuff like that because it's weird, but you know.
I mean, I don't think it's weird. I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
You hear it too.
Yeah, and then they're out of my mind. It's like, you know, there's people like people have to like think about like not thinking about, like that's not how it is. But like you, I know that could never happen. That could never happen with you. So that's one of those things where like the trapdoor, like forget it. There's no, you know, the Vikings are in the castle, unfortunately for me. But like that's what it looks like to me in this song. I think is what's going on.
Yeah, okay.
So lyrically, the song like seemed like pretty direct because it looks like he's saying, you know, he's been bitten by love and he's also been the bad guy, right? I've loved many times. I've been bitten, you know, many times I've gazed along the open road. Many times I've lied. So he's a bad guy in that situation. Many times I've listened, which again, like, this is just, to me, this is like a very mature, self-aware understanding of himself.
That's a kind of an interesting line because he says, many times I've lied, and then he says, many times I've listened. And you'd think that it would be like, I've lied and I've also been told the truth, but he said, I've lied and I've listened.
Right.
And so it kind of makes you say, oh, like, so what's the opposite? The opposite to him of lying is listening. So maybe he sees the times when he sat in a room with somebody and let them talk, but he wasn't actually listening to them as like a lie. Like you sat there making it look like you were having conversations with them and you cared about them or whatever, but it was a lie. That's
true. I remember one time listening to these marriage things, you know, like Christian radio. I was 18 years old, about to get married, so I was like doing all my research I possibly could. And they talked about how men, how they basically were saying, do you want to have sex? And of course, it's a Christian meeting, so they think they're edgy by admitting that they want to have sex. They think they're like, well, we're gonna, you know, men, but we do hey, we're grown men here, you know. Hey, they thought they were edgy for saying they want to have sex. I was like, well, hell yeah, well, of course I want to hit that shit. What's wrong with you? Yeah, now like give me the scoop. Like, how does this work? So he's like, men, and so they talk about like the bedroom starts in the kitchen. You know, help your girl do dishes. Blah blah blah, you know, all that stuff. And then they were talking about like, then I said, nah, I'm gonna have to find some way to hit that shit and still not be in the kitchen, because I swore off being in the kitchen because I was on kitchen duty my entire childhood. like horrible. I told that time I cut my finger and shit. My mom like wrapped it up all concerned, and then she sent me back to the fucking mines. So I was like, I am never gonna do dishes to get the, you know, whatever. But I was like. And then they talked about how women like to talk, and, you know, women like to talk and they express their feelings and things like that. So the guy was basically saying, listen, if you want the girl to have sex with you, you got to listen to her. And then there was like this is where it got like really weird for me. And I was like, I don't know if this is like, I was like, I don't feel like this is like a good play. Then I was like, maybe I need to ask somebody about this. I'm like, well, I can't ask. These are Christian dudes. They probably don't even know about, you know. I was like, but anyway, the guy was like, the woman likes to talk a lot, and you know that she's going to ramble and rant. So he basically said, just say, uh-huh. And he was like coaching the dudes through like certain words and things that they could say, oh my God, and things like that. So you're not really listening to her. You're just saying it because you want to set up for your encounter later on. And all the dudes were laughing through the whole thing. I don't know if he was joking or not, but I was like, yeah, bro. And you know the person I was with at the time, like you could not make a mistake like that. No. Like, I shit you not, like it could be potentially fatal. Yeah. Am I wrong? No. Like, that's not a mistake you could make with that individual. So I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work with Shorty, bro. Like, but it was like weird hearing these dudes, like this guy was like this older head and he was like supposed to school us young people. We're entering into a marriage and shit. And so he was like, yo, if you want, you know, the rendezvous at night or whatever, you got to listen to her. And, you know, I know you're dead tired coming back from work. You got to listen to her. And he's like, we know that you're going to check out after the first 30 seconds. So this is what you need to do, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yo, that shit is crazy, bro. Like, I couldn't believe that was happening. But I was young at the time, so I didn't understand, like, how that shit goes.
Such a massive miscalculation.
Yeah.
Like, no woman is gonna sit there and be like yupped off for years.
I know.
And like,
I know.
Like, people are people. You put somebody in that situation, and then sure enough, somebody's gonna come. They're gonna listen to every word they have to say.
I just think it's just like it's a weird kind of assumption that women are like so dumb that they wouldn't figure out that you know you're not really listening to that, especially if you're married.
That's
like, I can understand like a one night stand type situation,
years.
but like in a marriage, like I don't see how. Like, really, you married somebody that can't see through that shit? That's one of the reasons, like, I don't do the pretend stuff. Because I'm like, we're around each other so much, like, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to see through the shit if I wasn't in the first place. So, why pretend? Like, I would hate being in that position. I don't know.
It's weird, man.
But that is a good call
because...
where he says, I've lied, and many times I've listened. Like, the lie is that you're listening. That's a good catch. That's a very, very good catch.
Yep.
What did you think of the song?
What do I think about this? I liked this one. I like this one a lot. This one's actually going to be a 9.7 for me.
This one is a solid 9.2. 9.2 for me. I thought that this song was good. I thought instrumentally it was good. I thought it was vocally it was good. The other, what did I give it? Did I say 9.2?
Oh, did you just put that up?
I think I'm just gonna give it a solid 9. I'm gonna give this one a solid 9. It was good. Sonically, it was good. Vocally, it was good. Lyrically, it was okay. But the other songs were just like out of this world, like all-time great songs, like that I think are classic songs. I like Led Zeppelin, but if I look at Black Sabbath, I forgot the name. There was one band from like the 70s. It was like a rock band or like a proto-metal band that I really liked a couple days ago. Zeppelin is another one of those bands where like they are at legendary status, kind of like the Beatles. They're almost mythical. Mm-hmm. There's almost like a mythology around Led Zeppelin. Mm-hmm. And I am not particularly certain that I'm convinced that Led Zeppelin is like that kind of a band yet. Like when we had the Beatles night, like
I thought this one was really good.
It did not convert me to Beatlesism.
Right.
We've got some 3.5ers here. That's the term for Beatles religion. So it didn't turn me into a 3.5er, but it did make me see, okay, I can see why people think that the Beatles invented pretty much all of modern pop music, especially on the pop side. And I could see like, okay, this guy is writing like serious, like generational songs, and they're like responsible for like 10, which is insane. So Zepplin is a refresher. Zepplin is a very mythical, like I said, legendary band, and I'm sure at some point we're gonna get a Zeppelin night where we run through this stuff and people say, listen, man, this is
why.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I respect the hell out of them. I respect what they did, but I'm not really seeing that yet. So maybe at some point we'll have a Zeppelin day like we had a Beatles day. So it's a solid 9 for me. What do you give it?
This is a 9.7. I really liked it.
Yeah, I've never given Zeppelin under a 9. So yeah, they're good. Like I respect them, but like to me, the way they're discussed, it's like they're like an otherworldly, like legendary band. And I definitely see it with Tony Iommi's guitar. Like no disrespect to Sabbath, but I definitely see like the legendary mythical status because of Tony Iommi's guitar work and because of just to me, like he's the ultimate because he's. I said this about Hendrix. Like, yeah, Hendrix. I don't know enough about guitar to disagree with pretty much the consensus that Hendrix is a GOAT. But for me, it's Tony Iommi's ability to create genres. Just to me is orders of magnitude above everybody else. It's like comparing like Michael Jordan to like the backyard basketball player out here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how separate Tony Iommi is to me. Because I just think it's so hard to be creative, it's so hard to be original, and to be almost singularly responsible for multiple genres of music, like, it's just insane. So that's where I'm at with Led Zeppelin. That's where I'm at with Led Zeppelin. I think that they're a really, really good band for sure. But yeah, that's where we go.
That ends our 1973 DJ stream. That was part 2.
I'm a little disappointed, actually, to be honest with you.
Actually.
Hopefully, we've got more 70s dates coming down the pike at some point. Revo. Yeah, what a great freaking record, guy. What a great thing today. Shout out to everybody here.
We have an Alliance stream on the 31st, which I think is Friday.
Yep.
Just so everybody's aware, it's going to be at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that is a new alliance that started up. So we decided to move stuff around and come in on a Friday for you guys. So we will be here this Friday, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes. Thank you guys very freaking much for showing up. And remember, Fuji Beer Baby Formula, because American formula standards have not been significantly updated since 1980, which was before we were born, dear listener. All you do is go to Amazon.com, put Fuji in there, and you will have given your baby access to the healthiest baby formula on the market. Non-GMO, all that good stuff. All right, guys, we are out of here. Stay safe. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Oh, there goes Christy Yamaguchi. She Googled Christy Yamaguchi. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.